Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's June 16th at 6 p.m. Just want to make a note. I kind of get thrown into this job, so bear with me. We're going to start out with additions and deletions to the agenda.
I have one just under votes number 3. It says a sewer abatement. That should just be a water abatement instead.
Okay. I have one. We're just combining number 3 under select board statements. We're getting rid of number 3, and I'm combining them both into number 1. That's all I have for a change. Anybody else? Any?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Anything for you?
No.
We're going to go into citizens' comments. As usual, it's a 3-minute maximum. I don't know who's going to do the timing.
I can if you want.
Okay. Nico.
Thank you. So substantively, Nicholas Selden, live in Woodstock, as most of you, all of you probably know. I'm going to save the substantive comments for later because there are a lot of issues being addressed today. But I really just wanted to thank you. I want to thank all 4 of you for coming onto this board with all that is going on. Each of you knew when you came onto this select board that there was a current in this community where we have a major fracture. None of you are responsible for what has gone on up to this point that has gotten us here. And so I hope that you do not take personal critiques of the board or the municipal manager personally. All of us know that you are not responsible for how we got here. I noticed that Chair Ford is not here tonight. I believe that she is the last remnant of what has gotten us here today. And so we'll be addressing that momentarily with the other issues. But, you know, I do find it interesting. I find it interesting that we now know about some financial misconduct that has gone on here. We now know about it. It's out and open. I've been trying to pursue this for over a year now. Mr. Duffy, even up through present, is hiding documents. I know the general public doesn't know this because you're not privy to the public record requests, but I'm telling you, he's hiding documents. Even now, he won't disclose things. He won't respond timely. He's evasive. You have a group of citizens who is on top of this, and he is hiding things. Chair Ford is hiding things. And I'm just asking you to please keep an open mind as we are now starting to crack open this door and bring forward the evidence of what has occurred here. And I'm just asking you to, again, keep an open mind, and I thank you for volunteering to be here.
Okay. Anybody else? Citizens' comments?
Hi.
Hi.
Evening.
My name is Barbara Otranto. I live in Woodstock. And I was reviewing the minutes from May 28th. And it didn't quote me correctly. So what can I expect from the select board in a correction on that?
I would say that if you could email us and tell us what you said correctly, maybe we can make an adjustment to it. It is on our approval of minutes tonight, so we could make that change.
Yep.
Before we approve it.
Okay. And I would appreciate that. Obviously, I have this information here. I won't read it right now. But if you are so amenable to seeing a mistake that was made and that you will review it and correct it, I think that shows integrity. I don't understand why when you're confronted with other facts, such as where the town funds were used for village expenses, that that integrity just seems to go somewhere else. It's not looked at. It's been on this agenda, or people have been asking about it for many a moon. We get no answers, and you know, it's just a real lack of respect for the taxpayers. In that kind of stance, and that's what I would like to say. And I have that information here if you need it for later.
Yeah, we probably won't be able to approve the minutes till we make the change, but
Which we can
Thank
push
you.
that to the next.
Yeah.
Board meeting.
Could also make change the minutes with like her changes as a part of it, so you have to do that.
Okay.
Or you wait until the next meeting and approve them with the changes there.
Okay.
anybody else? Moving on to C, managers report.
Yeah, a few things. First, let the public know that we'll be closed Friday in honor of Juneteenth. So all public, town hall will be closed, public works will be closed. RC, the emergency service building will still be open, functioning as it does 24/7. So that's just so everyone knows. Additionally, we were found out this week that we were granted a $1 million grant through the federal government. We applied for it for be $2.7 million with the National Park Forest Service to kind of help increase access from Woodstock into the park. We're happy to get $1 million out of that. We're only one of two communities in Vermont that got any money from the federal government on this. So we're very excited. We got a FLAP grant a few years ago, right before I started, that the Buildings Commission is working on now as well. So this is kind of a history of us getting these grants, but Abby Sherman kind of led the charge. Worked with Two Rivers a lot, and we're very excited to move forward with this. So it's for the sidewalks, Elm Street Bridge, and the pathways up by Billings Farm. Kind of looking at the town as a whole. Some highlights from the last month. Our RFP for housing and economic development strategy went out. We got 8 bids for that, so we're currently reviewing those bids in-house. We'll have a recommendation for the select board hopefully soon. We'll talk a little bit about this in a minute, but the housing task force started receiving applications as well. Abby worked with Jess Kirby to develop an ad for Grip Magazine to promote Woodstock. She also met with the State Economic Development Office, looking at businesses looking to locate to Vermont and then advocating for those businesses from the Woodstock that they want to come to Vermont. The police department in May had 58 vehicle stops, 35 tickets issued, 23 warnings, $5,704 in fines, 346 parking tickets were issued. We have a new parking attendant currently, and she's doing a great job. Call center service was broken down, 154 in the village, 143 in the town. Before Susan asked, I don't have a breakdown of what those actually were yet. We're working on that, so I'll have that as soon as possible. Fire EMS, we had 27 fire calls, 7 in the village, 88 EMS calls, 19 in the village, 9 inspections of buildings, started dry hydrant flushing, finished up the Dartmouth student ride-alongs, and certified 32 people in CPR.
That it?
That's all I have, yes.
Financial report?
I have a question.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Why is it so complicated to figure out categorize the calls? I mean, that's been asked for like several times, just sort of by the audience, and so that we can sort of know how the calls do break down in both the village and the town.
Yeah, that's on me. I didn't ask for that detail this month, and I apologize. I'll get that for you as soon as possible.
Anybody else? Comments? Okay. Financial report.
So kind of taking a look out today, we processed the second to last payroll of the fiscal year. So we have one more payroll left. We'll still have some bills trickling over time, but we're looking right now projected balance of $98,000, give or take, into the fiscal year. As I'll say, that will go down because there are probably some outstanding bills that still have to come in, or expenses between now and June 30th that we'll need to spend money on. So it's kind of a $5,000 mile view. Looking at the sheet itself, revenue for the town is doing very well. So the revenue coming in mostly from dispatch contracts we have now with the sheriff's office and Weathersfield, which has been very helpful. Expenses, the two major things to look out for, continue to be fire EMS and dispatch, as we said now, over the last six months or so, hard time getting part-time firefighters EMS in, which means the overtime shifts have to be done by full-time employees, their wages higher, benefits, et cetera, so those costs go up. Same thing with dispatch. We were shorthanded for a while. Then we trained someone. When you train someone, you have two employees on at once, supervisor and the trainee. So those two are kind of going to be over budget by about $50,000 each this year.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Just a question, do we, in the month, have we experienced any other material events financially? Or do we perceive any?
So a few things. So we did the striping in the village for all the crosswalks and the parking spots. That was about $25,000 project. I don't believe the invoices come in yet. Additionally, we will be doing some paving of about $20,000 before June 30th as well, Public Works. Fire EMS is probably spending somewhere between $4,000 and $8,000 on new tires. Those are the major expenses I have that come to the top of my head.
Thank you.
Is that all factored in the surplus, the 98 estimate?
Some of it is, some of it's not. So some money's projected that to be spent, others are not. So again, give or take 90, but our price is, between 60 and 120 is very safer bet.
And just maybe like one more on that, like for public benefit, is the default of what happens to a surplus at the end of the year. Makes sense. We're coming up the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, that's a good point. So any surplus in the general fund at the end of the year, once a year is closed out, basically falls to undesignated fund balance. That gets, and then when the audit comes in, they'll come in and do an entire audit. And they'll tell us what our undesignated fund balance is for the year based on a surplus of revenue or the deficits and expenses. And that balance is kind of the municipal's safety balance. So if you have a year when you have a flood event happen and you have to spend $1 million, in a week to kind of get the roads back up, that money's there to kind of help offset any unforeseen expenses you have throughout the year. And just for some clarity, because it'll probably come up next week or two. I think as of June 30th this past year, the state has changed the rules. So originally, a town, select board, it was kind of a gray area if they could spend the undesignated fund balance or not. That rule's not been changed. The select board now has the authority to spend undesignated fund balance if they want for expense. So.
We're going to learn a little bit about that at the end of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to go into select board statements. We're going to read our response to the open meeting violation allegations. We have two. Dick is going to read his first one. And then I will read the second one.
Okay, this is in reference to Laura Powell. So this will provide Woodstock Selects Boards a response to the email notice of June 2nd, 2026, wherein you allege that the open law meeting violation occurred at a regularly scheduled select board meeting held on May 5th, 2026. Specifically, you allege the agenda for the meeting failed to provide notice of statement that Laura Powell read. On her own behalf, wherein she unilaterally tendered her resignation as a member of the select board. As a remedy, you seek, quote, an agenda item at the next select board meeting to address this open meeting law grievance so that it can be a matter of public record. And so the substance of Ms. Powell's comments can be addressed to clear up an intended misimpression. Having reviewed your notice and allegations, the select board finds that the Vermont's open meeting law does not require that statements such as the one provided by Ms. Powell are required to be listed as a specific agenda item. That's VSA 312 D3 provides in part a meeting agenda shall contain sufficient details concerning specific matters to be discussed by the public body. As a unilateral statement of Ms. Powell's intent to resign, it was not a matter for discussion by the public body, nor did it constitute a matter open for discussion prior to the public body's adoption or consideration of a pending motion, resolution, or formal action to be taken by the select board as a body. Sorry, that's all one sentence. Simply put, the select board as a public body has no authority or ability to consider or impact Ms. Powell's choice to resign. Accordingly, the select board will not, as requested, include a specific agenda item at the upcoming meeting to address the substance of Ms. Powell's statement. The select board does note that if you wish to comment on Ms. Powell's statement at an upcoming regular meeting, you will have an opportunity to do so during citizens' comments, subject to the select board's regular time limitation of 3 minutes per person. Thank you.
And I'm going to read the response to another meeting violation allegation. This will provide the Woodstock Select Board's response to your email, dear Mr. Sullivan. This will provide the Woodstock Select Board response to your email notice of June 4th, 2026, wherein you allege that discussions were held in connection with an illegal transfer of taxpayers' dollars in an unwarned executive session and approved in an unwarned executive session. Based on this allegation, you specifically requested the following remedies. Primary remedy, the select board needs to act now to recover town taxpayer dollars that were illegal transferred, either recovered them from the village or from personal pockets of those who facilitated the unlawful transfer. Secondary remedy, the select board ought to remove the municipal manager for this serious misconduct. Tertiary remedy, you ought to step down and allow your seat to be filled in August. Must be directed at someone, but your seat to be filled in August during the election due on your ongoing role in public deceit. I remind you of your lie about litigation against the town being an S with the illegal transfer was made, and I remind you of your misleading representation that Mr. Duffy received positive evaluations from all anonymous department heads, when in reality each head had to put their name on the evaluation. As an initial matter, the select board does not acknowledge that a violation of the open meeting law, as alleged in your notice of June 4th, 2026, occurred based on currently known information. Second, the specific cures for the alleged violation, as stated in your notice of June 4th, 2026, exceed any appropriate remedies under the open meeting law. With regard to the request that the select board act now to recover town taxpayer dollars, that action, to the extent it is determined to be appropriate, in whole or in part, may be the subject of further select board consideration based on thorough review and understanding of the authority conferred for those expenditures. Such a decision under the open meeting law is specifically limited to a determination of whether a past action is effective, and if not, whether any action taken should or should not be ratified. The intent of the open meeting law was to give public exposure to governmental decision making. The purpose is not to create vehicles for individuals displeased with governmental actions to obtain reversals of substantive decisions. Consistent with this language, we hold that 312A provides only that action taken outside of an open meeting are ineffective unless ratified in an open meeting. Once so ratified, however, such actions are effective and binding upon the public body. This is so whether ratification, this is based on Valley Realty 165 BT at 468. This is so whether ratification occurs as part of a statutory cure process. Also, the secondary and tertiary remedies sought are entirely beyond the scope of the open meeting law to provide. There is no basis under the open meeting law to demand as a secondary or tertiary remedy that a municipal manager be removed or that a sitting duly elected select board member step down and allow your seat to be filled in August. These consequences are not determinations by application of the open meeting law and are not properly considered as cures based on the allegations which have been made.
So two, I think, one, you want to make a note.
Can I?
Go ahead.
Hi, sorry, I'm sorry I'm not at the meeting in person. I am away, although I've been here since the start of the meeting. First of all, the statements that were read were prepared for us by our attorney, James Carroll. And as such, the first thing the board needs to do is waive attorney-client privilege as to those statements, but those statements only. So I'll move that we do that.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. And then the next step is to discuss whether or not we adopt those statements as our own, since they were prepared for us by our attorney. And I will move that we do so.
Second.
Are we doing them individually or
Whatever
Oh.
the chair's preference is.
I think we should do them individually?
Agreed.
Okay.
I'll
So
move-
why don't we start? Go ahead.
Yeah. I'll move that we adopt the attorney's statement with regard to the meeting in which Laura Powell resigned.
Second, Ben.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay,
And then I'll move, the next one was a letter addressed to me regarding, I believe, a statement I made in the Standard. So I'll move that we accept the attorney's statement on that open meeting allegation.
we talking about the right, same one?
Yes, the one with the tertiary and,
Yeah, okay.
yep.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm abstaining.
Okay. All right. Any further input, comments? Cliff?
No, why? Are we moving on to the next agenda item or no?
Well, actually, I had a response, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Thank you. So I'm a little confused because when I read Ms. Ford's statement in the paper, it sounded like this was something that was approved in executive session with all the people that have already tendered their resignations right before this information came out publicly. So it sounds like now the board is saying that there wasn't an open meeting law violation. Is that because there wasn't a meeting on this issue? Or was it because of some other reason? I'm very confused. There's no rationale provided. There's no substantive rationale provided in response to the open meeting law violation. And I'm very concerned by that. Just denying that it occurred is insufficient. I think, and again, this is not directed at any of you. This all happened before you came. You weren't in those backroom deals that they actually occurred. I understand that. But I do believe that the public is entitled to know whether the board is taking the position that that was in fact a backroom deal, as Ms. Ford told the Standard, which she did not tell us during the meeting that preceded her interview with the Standard, interestingly. So was there a backroom deal or was there not? And if there was, why is that not a violation of open meeting law when money from the town was transferred to the village to pay for village legal expenses that was not appropriated? It was not warned in a public meeting. It was not on an agenda, and it was never voted on in public. That has to be a violation. It has to be if it occurred. So I would just ask the board, think about this a little bit more and maybe address this further at the next board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Peter?
Peter Shoemaker, Woodstock. So I would never guess the lawyer wrote that. I mean, the way you guys read that, I figured you wrote that last night, but.
You know I didn't read.
Well done. But
I'm
what I,
dyslexic, so sight reading is a challenge.
especially with those phrases and legal talk. So I won't try to legal talk here, but what I will say, if I boil that whole statement down is you guys have to vote whether that town expenditure will still occur or the money should be returned. So apparently the money by default should be returned to the town unless you decide to then pay the legal expenses for the quasi judicial hearing that was not covered by insurance. So that's basically what was happening, right? That was the payment was made for the quasi judicial hearing that was not covered by insurance. So you have to decide whether the town should. It had nothing to do with the town being part of the civil suit, because that had nothing to do with this. This is about covering that quasi judicial hearing cost and related to that. So if we can agree that that lawyer statement, if we boil it down to one little summary, is that money should go back to the town unless the select board approves the expenditure of covering village expenses. I'll leave the rest of it, whether the town manager or municipal manager overstepped his boundary by spending money that was never voted on by the select board. Had nothing to do with the trustees. So either we have a municipal manager that disregarded the laws or was unaware of the laws, but we have a chance to correct it, from my understanding from that legalese. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Anybody else? Okay, we're going on to number 2, which is a statement on the ongoing litigation.
Yeah, and this is another statement from an attorney. So, and just to clarify, we get requests for the status of the case frequently. We can't really say much about it. So ask the attorney, and this is what we got. Mr. Swanson's lawsuit has been referred to the Vermont League of City and Town Insurance Program and the VLCT, which is the abbreviation for Vermont League of City and Towns, has retained attorneys to defend the lawsuit. VLCT and its attorneys control the course of the lawsuit. Because the matter is in litigation, we cannot comment further. And that's the full statement that we got back. So just wanted to share that. So as we want to be as responsive as possible, that's a difficult one for us though.
Any comments?
I would love to make one.
Sure. Go ahead.
Just want to address, and I understand, Mr. Johnson, that statement was prepared by a lawyer. However, it's not totally accurate. VLCT, the insurance carrier, is not controlling everything. Mr. Duffy is. And just like how he spent the town money on village legal bills, he's not a stupid person. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's very smart and very cunning. And he has been controlling and pulling the strings this entire time. He is in full control over what's happening. It's not VLCT, so they should not be blamed. And we got some court orders today that I don't know if the board is aware of, but depositions are about to begin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, now we're moving on to discussions. Number 1 is committee vacancies. Eric's gonna give us a little bit of insight on.
Yeah, so I don't know, about a month ago, this board voted to establish a housing task force. We're currently accepting applications for anyone who wants to join the task force and work with Abby Sherman on trying to build more affordable housing in Woodstock to keep families here, to keep workers here, and help the economy. So we have in the booklet breakdown what the task force does. It's on our website, but we're looking to hopefully start appointing members in early July. So anyone's interested, I would ask you to fill out an application or email Abby Sherman and talk to her, and hopefully volunteer to join us for this very important committee that we need to help solve in Vermont.
Question, or what's the grand list? I read the term and I had no idea what it was.
So the grand list is the total amount of value in Woodstock based on all the parcels.
All the values of the.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Novice question.
Did you want to talk about the finance?
Yeah, so on Susan, I don't know if she has another comment or finance committee. Yeah, so I think finance committee was created many years ago Over the last 3 years, they've kind of morphed into a more project-based committee. They worked on helping find rates for the water system that this board will revisit in coming months. In a joint meeting soon, both boards will be asked to create a merger analysis committee. I envision that finance committee working diligently on that, on what the finances would be if a merger was to happen. So the public would have a better idea of what that would look like financially for everyone, along with any of the projects that the select board or trustees want to give them. It's a very good group of people that are on there now. There are currently 4 members who are remaining from on the previous finance committee. So we have 3 openings. So if anyone's interested, again, ask them to fill an application, reach out to me or Robert Densmore. We kind of walk you through the steps.
Who are the 4 that are on the board?
John Spector, I don't want to pronounce anyone's names wrong. So give me a minute and I'll pull it up. But we have 4 members who've been on there for at least the last 2 years.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
Mary Ann Sweeney from Townsville. I just want to comment on the finance committee. It has morphed into some just project-based, but originally it was not. They had oversight of the budget. That's what they did. I mean, it wasn't, they didn't prescribe anything, but they had oversight. And I'd like to see that reinstated. Just for transparency, everybody's busy. And I don't think that the finances in the town should rest with Eric and Robert primarily, and then a review by the select board. So these people are very competent, they're very experienced, they're specialized in finance, and so I'd like to see them more involved in town finance. Thank you.
Thank you.
That
Susan?
was, that was gonna be.
Yes, I'm
That
sorry,
was-
I wanted to, I have seemed to struggle with unmuting, but I wanted to go back and point out that the statement on the ongoing litigation was prepared by VLCT. Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the finance committee and having oversight and sort of, if that can be brought back. And also, I don't know if this is the right time and maybe it needs to wait to the forthcoming meeting, is that about having auditors. And I don't know if that would be part of the finance committee or not, but the town seemed to have voted out those positions in the 2025 town meeting.
You mean elected out of
Elected. And I don't know if they have to be elected or if they actually, they could be appointed. I think I've sort of read on it. I think it can be maybe either or, I'm not sure, but I think at this point that's something that should be considered. And as I said, I don't know if that, does that tie in with the finance committee? I sort of think it does or doesn't, but I think it's all something to think about in terms of sort of expanding that sort of financial oversight.
Okay.
So your question earlier, it's Todd Arce, Karim Hurley, Ellen Lefevre, and John Spector, and the 4 members.
Sure. You're not a member. Okay. And we have 3 spaces, 3.
3 currently,
Seats, right.
yeah.
Okay, number 2, Woodstock Rural Area Rural Medication Hub. Is Todd here? He is here.
I'm on the finance committee.
Yeah, that's right.
Very good.
I'm responsible apparently. That was good. I appreciate that.
Well, we're gonna give you some more work.
Yeah. Watch what you wish for.
I can add. So I'm here about the pharmacy closing that happened a few Thursdays ago. And the morning it happened, a friend of mine texted me and said, I can't believe it, the pharmacy closed. I'm a grant administrator for Mass General Brigham, and I've been doing it for about 35 years. So I looked online and they have a grant to help support this and to bring back a pharmacy in a different kind of way. And it's just something I'm doing on my own kind of thing through this, my Prosper Valley Farmer Collective. So the farmers will be helping with all of this, your whole community. is the goal. Now, what it would be is to create not a pharmacy itself, but it's a distance learning and telemedicine grant that'll pay to build out a pharmacy for a telemedicine system. Okay, we're working with the Otakichi, not health club, but whatever it is over there.
I knew until you said health club.
So you knew it, yeah, same here. And working with, I think it's Diane, and seeing, if we could help out and do that. So we're working on submitting a grant for it's only about $180,000. But it would outfit the unit of space there. If Dartmouth, Hitchcock, or whoever owns the space would be willing to help us with some rent issues. And then, I put together a little bit of a timeline for it. So if you want to see.
It's actually Mount Scottney who owns that.
What?
Mount Scottney owns that.
Yes, that's what it is. And so we've been dealing with all of them, and trying to get them their support. They finally gave it today and said they're a little bit, said they're behind it for right now. They were looking at some other options, but if grant funding were to help support it, what it would be is not a pharmacy, but a distribution center where medication could come in and be put into lock boxes or and dispensed only. We would not have a pharmacist on site. There would be a telemedicine build out so that if anybody needed to talk to a pharmacist, they would have access to that. Okay, but it would allow for us within a year pretty much to have this. Anything else I think it would take a lot longer. I don't see, just to trying to get another pharmacy in there. In Dartmouth, our Mount Scottney may want to put in a new pharmacy in the future for all, we know, but right now plan is nothing. And everybody's talking about not having one. So I came up with the novel ideas. Why don't we ask for one? So, and then we got the senators involved and they said they would be willing to write a letter. I need the select board. I would like to ask the select board if they would be willing to write a letter of support. And it's just for an opportunity. It's like, most grants, as in the grant world that I live, is about 20% funded. Okay, so your chances aren't yeehaw. You just got to go with the flow. And, because everybody is putting in grants and, a lot of other people, other institutions and places. I have access to do this through my, my company, basically the LLC. And there's no money in it for me for the most part. Once it's up and running, I would get a little bit of money to manage the process. But most of the money would go towards the equipment and getting everything in there. And then actually today, a new grant came out by who was it? Let me see. It just came out today too. Yeah, it was Claire Bitko. She's the director over there.
Yeah.
So she just sent a nice email out, said, I think it'd be good to apply. And she sent me today.
Is that for this one or for the new grant that just came out?
This grant.
Okay.
And for the new one.
Okay.
Because this one will pay for the infrastructure. The new one that I just came out today, it's not through, I think it's through Vermont, will help pay for the administrative costs and help offset some of that. There is some matching funds that are required, I think like 27,000 or something like that. And I will deal with that. And then, it's more important to help the people in the community than to not have a pharmacy, but to have one, is my theory. So if we can do that, I think everybody would win a little bit. Chances are not the greatest, but I put together a rather elaborate little package. I called it the Warmth Program because it's like, it's the Woodstock area rural medication hub. Okay, it would serve the whole Upper Valley and anybody can use it. It's because, we have lost 5 or 6 pharmacies that were nearby in the last handful of years, basically. And I think this is the new model that's coming out. That they're, you know, instead of having a pharmacy, because they're all in Lebanon or wherever, and they're all in CVS's and Walgreens and hospitals, they're going to start transitioning as these small local pharmacies close. They're going to sit there and come into this kind of a model where you can just pick up the medicines if you wanted to. I haven't figured out a cost. Don't really care how much it costs to get it here and get it to everybody. We'll figure that out as we go along, more or less. Let's see if we can get it built. If we can get it built or get some momentum on it, then we can figure out what the cost would be to the public, and we can get donations and get people to help out. And I think it'd be a community event.
So the $180,000 grant request isn't that a cost then? Where does that come from?
It comes from the government.
Okay, and
Comes from.
does that cover all of this or a portion of it? I'm just
That
trying to
would-
understand.
Okay, so if they gave us the space, a room,
Yeah,
this would pay for all the infrastructure to put in telemedicine
Okay.
equipment and telemedicine space
Mhm.
and build it all out.
okay.
Okay, so there'd be no cost to anybody other than the grant.
So when somebody gets forgive me for,
No, please,
No,
this is
jump in.
great.
if somebody gets a prescription from the emergency room or from their primary care,
Right.
who do they then submit that to?
The primary care or whatever have you would probably go to wherever they get it from. I think it's at Scutney or Dartmouth or whatever.
Uh-huh.
There would be a pickup that would go out each day, deliver it here to Woodstock, and someone would stop the shelves here with just the prescriptions. It's sort of like when you go to pick up a prescription at CVS or wherever have you stand in line. and
Okay.
You type in your stuff and you wait for the bag. This might be a little bit more of a locker setup where people could just come in and, you know, pick up their things.
Okay.
Okay, and we wouldn't be giving any advice. There'd be no medical advice. It would just be a place for, I see it mostly for, you know, recurring prescriptions that they already have and they know.
Mhm.
It's, you know, a new prescription would be that telemedicine to deal with the doctor if they had questions. Okay, but it wouldn't be, it's not going to be where you go and have a full conversation and feel like you're going to get that.
Understood. I guess
Yeah.
my concern, and again, speaking as
Yeah, please.
now a member of the town select board, would the, you know, where's the risk? How do we safeguard from prescriptions being put in the mail in the wrong box? I mean, occasionally I get letters in my PO box that aren't addressed to me.
I think
And,
that would all have to be worked out.
okay,
Okay, this is really just a preliminary. I really only I put up together about 180-page package. They haven't asked us about, this is really just for the.
yeah, and I appreciate you taking the questions there.
But I love your questions, because we have to think about those.
Right.
Okay, you know, so it is a sort of a quick turnaround grant. So it would happen rather quickly. And, you know, so we would know, and as soon as we found out, then we'd have to build that whole model.
Okay.
Okay, they haven't asked for that information today. And I don't think that's part of the grant process. It's really just for the equipment. I've talked to the director in New England.
Yeah.
And he used to live in this area. He understands it. He gave me some pointers on what to put into the grant that might, what's acceptable,
Excellent.
what's not. He was actually very, very nice. I really actually enjoyed talking with him. I don't usually write grants. I usually just manage, you know, a large portfolio of research. And Mass General is, you know, one of the largest in the country. I think their portfolio is about $2 billion.
Alex, when's the grant due?
June 30th. The other thing was that it's a very quick turnaround. They really usually give you 3 to 6 months to plan a grant, something like this. They gave us they're giving everybody less than 2 months. Okay, I think it came out on May 15th. Okay, it's my first email on this, so it must have happened. That's when I found out about it. The grant might have been out earlier, but the day the pharmacy closed, I looked up that night and built a grant around it.
So you're looking for us for your blessing?
A letter of support.
Letter of support, okay.
So I'm looking for a letter of support. And then I'll be back for another letter of support for hopefully the next piece of it, and sort of like put them together and let them know we're applying for both of these things, and hopefully you can get both. If we get both of them funded, then we can come up with a proper way of sitting and trying to build this out. And we'll need the town's support in that process too, because it is for the town. It's not for, it's not going to be a for-profit kind of adventure. It is going to be a town adventure. And that's the way I believe. I just think we should do things together.
Okay.
So I just wonder, I mean, it's a great response to some, that an urgent need. My only question is if if this takes off, will it discourage that maybe Mount Scottney would have been considering actually having a pharmacy?
No,
And it won't.
she knows that, they're still talking all about that.
Uh-huh.
This is just an interim.
No, and I understand that, but if it gets so successful, will it sort of steer,
I don't know them, so you'd have to, we could ask.
right.
But,
Because the personal, you just want the goal is you want the personal approach. I mean, this is great response interim. And, the long term, it would be great to have some form of pharmacy back, and maybe that world is gone. But if it isn't, I just wonder if this would discourage the potential of something else. But in the meantime, thank
it
you
might
for
save them,
stepping up.
it would save them money, yes.
Yeah.
They'd still have to deal with the telemedicine portion, and they still have to deal with all the patients. If you don't drive to them, you're gonna see them some way, either drive or sit here. This is just to eliminate the drive and for the winter and allow people, and then the nice thing is to sit there and say, can we create a delivery service of some sort? Like my personal goal is that I would like to be able to bring, and make sure that everybody has the medicines they need, especially the people that are housebound or need help. I've worked with the Thompson Center about this. They were a little concerned, like, what's going on. They didn't like that Turnbridge was in this little pile of towns, but believe it or not, it's the same distance for Turnbridge to go to Lebanon than here, for the most part. I found out, and I don't even know where it is. So it's me learning at the same time. I mean, I know nothing about pharmacies. I know something about this. I just saw an opportunity and I was willing to look at it for you guys, for the town as a whole. Okay. But I do have one other thing I want to ask and see if you have a complaint with or an issue with, but I also would like to start an umbrella service. I'm weird, okay? I am a little bit on the wackier side, or at least enjoyable side.
You said umbrella.
Umbrella
We're talking
service.
about physical
Physical
umbrellas for
We're
rainy days.
we're out of the pharmacy.
Okay.
We're now into umbrella land. I want to give a couple of the shops some umbrellas to hand out for free to tourists to use when it rains. And I don't think there's a problem with that, but I thought I'd better run it by and see if there is a problem with that.
You're giving.
That'll be outside the scope of the select board. That'll be outside the scope of the select board. That'll be more, I think, a conversation with you and the individual business owners.
Chamber of
Perfect.
Commerce. Chamber of
Well,
Commerce.
we're
Yeah.
doing it then.
Yeah, that's right. Jim Kelly, the Chamber of Commerce, is probably a great person
Yeah.
to talk to.
Kim would be
I think
appreciative
they're
of that.
parties. They're good parties.
I have a few of those umbrellas at home.
Okay, and the other thing is that I just got awarded a grant for $150,000 to help build I have a table at the Green for the Prosper Valley Farmer Collective. So we're starting to build a farmer community here back.
Awesome.
And hopefully we'll be able to start seeing that happen over the next couple of years.
That's great. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thanks for all your
Thank you
efforts.
for all your efforts. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Next is Dick. Do you want to talk about the VLCT guidelines for the agenda edition? Like to talk about?
Yeah, sure. I gotta find my page on that.
This is for getting items on the
Agenda, right.
A little more
Oh, good.
format.
The VLCT has a, how to get an item on the select board meeting agenda. And it's a form that outlines who can request an agenda item, deadlines for the meeting schedules, how board members request an item. And then this is presented to the board, obviously, before a meeting, and a determination is made whether or not a topic is a line item on an agenda. And if it's not, then it's incumbent on the board to get back to the person making a request to let them know why it didn't get on the board. And it's between the board and the chair of the select manager. Typically, this is recommended by the VLCT that would make the determination as to whether something hits the agenda. The overall thought on this is that we have a concern about transparency with the board and with the municipal government. So this is a step, I believe, in the right direction to provide more transparency.
Thank you. Any comments, anything?
Yes,
Jay?
I think once again, and I've spoken to this from the other side of the table, that there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of process and a lot of protocol to try to get an item on the agenda. I mean, I think a lot of it can come from citizens' comments that, you know, then if the question can't be answered, then for, you know, to get it on the agenda. Also regarding the board, I know previously, when I was on the trustees, we always had, for the trustees themselves at the end, it was other discussion at the end. And that's when trustees could bring up what they wanted, that had sort of happened over the month. I've noticed with the select board, from July of last year until January 20th of this year, that was also on the docket, other. And that it's no longer there. So, I mean, my question is why all these processes? I mean, I think it should just be a little, I mean, less formal, I guess would be the word, to make it feel friendlier, more accessible, and people can sort of feel like they really are participating in our herd. So that, I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. It's just that I just feel it really takes away from the ability and the openness and the ease for people to feel at ease and welcome for what they want to say.
Two thoughts on that. One is that everybody doesn't always have the opportunity or remember that there's a board meeting, have it on the agenda. And if this is on the website, they can at their own convenience look at the form, fill it out and submit it. And we have it. So it gives greater access to all the voters within the town. And not everybody is comfortable coming forward and making a request directly. So
I would
it's a matter of convenience.
I would like a combination of that then. I mean, I think that's great what you've just said, you know, but then I'd also like sort of the more informal aspect of the other. Anyway,
I think
that's just a feeling.
If we set up a process and a protocol, that would negate the need to have an informal method. And this way, it's a level playing field for everybody to submit. My thoughts on that. So I'm open to any discussion. Uh-oh.
I just want to note,
It's his wife.
Just go ahead.
yeah, I want to note that we, as far as the select board is concerned, we do have an agenda policy about timing for ourselves and it's actually the chair and the vice chair who form the agenda. And it does go out to members ahead of the meeting and before it's made public so that members can discuss it. And but I don't have a problem with this. I think the one thing I would suggest is that we say how many agenda items people can add. I appreciate the emails we all got, but they listed like 25 agenda items, and with our meetings packed with a lot of stuff, it's really hard to fit in a lot of items. So if people stuck to, you know, a few items that they want to address, that would be really helpful. But I think the combination is also good. I think we try to take notes at citizens' comments about things people want to talk about, but also having a process where someone may not feel comfortable speaking up is good as well.
And depending on the request, an appropriate response may be unable. I mean, I'm a pilot, air traffic control says do something, and if I don't want to do it, I can say unable, and that's our goal. So.
Okay. I agree with you about the public comments. However, I can ask everybody here for requests. You're not going to answer them because it's in a public comment situation. If I ask for something to be put on the agenda, then there's a discussion and it's documented. The other thing that this includes, if a request, oh wait, okay. Not every request will appear as a separate agenda item. Some may be handled through public comment, referral to staff, or a future meeting, depending on the complexity and time available. So they do cover these things. If a request can't be scheduled right away, then the requester should receive a brief explanation and, if possible, a timeline. And I have put several requests in, and I have not received anything like that. So I would like to see this. I understand that. So if I ask for something and it's not approved or it's been discussed already in a prior meeting, I understand that there's some administrative work that has to be done here. But I have a suggestion for that. And that is, if we had minutes in a searchable file from the
Database.
beginning, a cumulative file every year. So every time there's a document with minutes, that you just add it to the prior minutes. And then I can search back through January. So as a citizen, if I'm asking for something, maybe I'm going to search this first. Or maybe someone on the staff or on the select board can search and say, it was done on this, we've already discussed this. Thanks a lot. So I think this is really good. You don't have to do it all, but I have felt in the past, like I have requested things and it goes into a black hole for the select board. So for agenda item, and I don't know why. So I would suggest that you do that. Thank you.
Tim, right up against
Thank
3
you.
minutes, but go ahead.
I might,
Nico.
Yes, thank you. So again, I'm so excited for all four of you being on here, and I love what I'm hearing, especially with that last agenda item. I would just like to parrot what was just said a few moments ago. I have also made several requests to Chair Ford in particular for agenda items over the past many months, maybe many months. And the prior chair, Mr. Bourgeois, before that, and not so much as a professional courtesy of a response. Nothing, just silence most of the time. So I really like hearing that if it's not going to be approved as an agenda item, that we, the taxpayers, are actually getting an explanation for why that is, even if it's a word like not able, that's perfectly fine. But for example, the legal fees that are now an issue, we several of us have been requesting that forever, and to be ignored so blatantly is not only incredibly disrespectful, but I do think that it is a major problem from a transparency perspective. So again, just very, very excited. In terms of the minutes, I think the only issue with having a searchable document is we have a problem right now that I think I notified all of you. I know I notified Mr. Duffy that the minutes are not accurately capturing the topics that we are discussing. And I've given some very specific examples. I'm not going to get into that right now. So I mean, unless we have somebody who's actually going to take these minutes down and talk about the topics like they should be doing, that unfortunately would not work, but it's a great idea. And that should in fact be what occurs. So thank you.
Obviously, the minutes are done by state statute. We're following state statute, how many minutes should be done. So I just want to make that clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just want to weigh in as well. I do think it's like the blend of, I do like having a form on the site that we can then track, like the number 9 here is the transparency and documentation. That way we can show, hey, these were here. I think best case scenario, we're then adding the response to like, is there or not? Because I think, and I don't always have visibility to everything that's requested because sometimes they might just request it of one board member or something like that. So the more we can get to a point where it's like, okay, like one person asked this over the course of this year, it didn't make the agenda, we addressed it like, individually. But to your point, I think like making sure that everybody knows that they can reach out to any of us if they're more comfortable with one than the other or something. And then we could put it on here as well, or try to address it. So I think it's like, I've been in 7 months now, and I think sometimes people assume that like I've heard of something that I haven't because they made a request to somebody else or whatever it might be. So appreciate kind of the blend where we can. Yeah, go ahead.
Byron?
Hi, Byron Kelly, Woodstock. I'm really encouraged about the momentum of the board in the last few months on the transparency. I agree with both sides. What Gay's saying, there's sometimes in citizen comments, you could answer quickly, just quickly, instead of saying, well, let's put it on the formal agenda. On the formal agenda, though, I agree with also. And I looked at the form here, and the only suggestion that I caught, and this is my cop eyes that caught it, is on number 6. Because you didn't fill in a lot of the blanks.
Oh, yeah, just
Who
for
decides what
discussion.
goes on the agenda? I would recommend you put town manager and or chair or co-chair. That way, if one is gone, if one is vacant, if whatever happens, that it's not one person that decides. It's 2 different people. And that's the only thing, because it doesn't.
It says, town manager in consultation with the select board.
It doesn't mean that the town manager would have to put it on by the elements.
But the board, as I see it anyway, and I could be the perfect world between my ears, the board and the town manager would both have visibility to it. So it's not as if somebody sees it and tosses it.
I'm just saying, if you're gonna live by the rules, you die by the rules. And that if you formalized it that way, I also agree wholeheartedly that if someone puts in a request, it might almost be comical, because I remember 25 years ago, everyone loved the police report and the standard because there was a lot of entertaining.
Why do you think I keep asking for it from
There are a
Eric?
lot of-
I want the entertaining of.
There are a lot of
calls.
entertaining calls that people, at least they tell me they enjoyed. And I know Kevin Forrest at the time really loved it. That if it's not put on the agenda, even if you put a list of the type of things somewhere, these are the requests we had, if they weren't. So if someone said, oh, we have a request of a deer eating, their flowers in Tassville or South Woodstock or something. I mean, that's small town feel. We got to bring back our small town feel. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Byron. All right. Anybody? All set? On to our next Vondell Cobb update. Susan.
Yes,
Oh,
and Mark Harris is
Mark?
on as well, if he can be
Yep.
unmuted.
I'm
There he
here.
is,
Hello.
right there.
I'll ask Mark to give us Mark Harris and Tom Debevoise are doing the fundraising on Vondell, so I'll ask Mark to give us that update. Just the amount.
Yeah, we are. I have pledged commitments for $256,600
Thank
towards
you.
our goal of 400,000.
And I want to thank the Woodstock Rotary. There was a complication in that a lot of people have trusts and there's a foundation and they can't give to the town because it's not a 501c3. And while individuals can give to the town and have it tax deductible, those type of entities could not. And Mark worked it out with Rotary that the funds can go to them so that people can get their deductions and we can get the funds. So thank you to the Rotary. I know, Peter, I'm talking to you and some others that there's been a lot of concern about if we get this money, and it's still an if, how we're planning to spend it or where it's going to go. And I'm hopeful that that's going to be on the agenda in July. One of the things that I think we need to look at, well, number one, I think that the money needs to go so that all taxpayers benefit from it since everybody's paying for that bond. I think we need to look at if we put the money away and make bond payments with it, does that make more sense than putting the money toward a capital expense? There's just a lot of things that actually involve some math and that we need some time or we need the finance office to have some time to put together for us, but that discussion will occur, I'm optimistic, in July. So bear with us.
And Susan, you just give a timeline of the grant, when the grant would be awarded to the town?
Well,
Is it
the grant has,
October?
the grant has been awarded, and our acceptance of the grant was conditioned on private fundraising of 400,000. We decided we wanted $1 million total to conserve the property. So we're cheering Mark and Tom on for the rest of those funds. And if anybody here is listening and want to contribute, I'm sure Mark and Tom would be very happy to talk to you about how to do that. Once they've reached the goal, the select board still has to technically accept the grant. We have to go through a lot of the documents that Vermont Housing Conservation Board and Vermont Land Trust will be providing to us. We were told, VHCB has given us the over $600,000. We were told that that's just kind of sitting out there. We can't wait forever. If we stall too long, they could say, it doesn't seem like you want this money and we're giving it to someone else. But we did set a deadline for Mark and Tom of August 1st. So that, I know that probably could, if they're close and ask us, I'm hopeful that we would give them more time, but that's the deadline that presently exists for them. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
But Susan, in the contract that we signed and approved, we don't have to raise that money to take the 605.
We do not.
We didn't.
It's all in,
It's not contingent. It's not contingent. So we could decide if we can only raise $350,000, that, we can decide to take it all.
we can,
Yeah, it's not contingent upon
Mark
that.
didn't hear that.
correct.
Mark,
It was
you
a
didn't hear
goal.
that. You
Yeah.
didn't hear that. Mark.
No, don't worry. My goal is 400, and I will just say that.
Attaboy, you keep it up.
Tom-
Keep it
Tom
up.
and I have been networking. Who do we know, and who do they know? And we are working our way through the community and outwards. And success does beget success, and then we're getting momentum, and that's helping, right? People don't want to be the only person supporting a project, and they're not now. We've got a fantastic array of donors, and there's a lot of people. Just as I've started just promoting it, people who weren't aware of this project who said, I am so excited this is happening and count me in. And whether that was for $500 or, 5 or 6 figures, the response has been very positive.
Well,
We
thank you
just
to
need
you
to
and
keep
Tom.
going. Yep.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, number 5 on discussion, noise ordinance.
So
Yes,
in the
this got brought up. Sorry,
Yep.
go ahead, Susan.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Susan.
no, I don't mean to step on toes, Eric, if you had something to say.
No, you go.
Okay, in the packet is what the village uses, and in reviewing it, I think we have a lot to discuss, and I was probably a little premature in pushing this, responding to what Michael Brands was going through with the neighbors' roosters. I understand that they are quieter. I don't know if that's Michael on his wife's iPad or not, but so I feel like the
Was
urgency.
here.
Oh, he was here?
He was
It
here.
was here.
Okay. I feel like the urgency has abated somewhat because I've heard from another neighbor that the roosters are quieter. And I think we should, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a noise ordinance, but I think we should be a little bit careful of how we arrive at it. I'm not sure the villages meets the needs of the town at large. We also need to decide, are we talking about roosters? Are we talking about leaf blowers, music? I think that their ordinance was largely in response to weddings at the inn. So we may have different needs. So I'm thinking that we put this off to have a much broader discussion with the public on what people want to see, if they want to see something, if they want to just hope that we can all be good neighbors, but open to discussion with what the rest of you think right now.
He's here as well, so I don't know.
Michael is walking into the room.
Okay.
Excuse me. Didn't think we'd be this quick. Okay, I made a few changes to my request. I felt it'd be much easier. I'm trying to keep this simple. I kind of disagree with someone who suggested this be a noise ordinance that covers every noise possible in this universe. And I'm only interested in one item. It's a constant annoyance every single day, every single hour of the daylight. And multiple times during that hour, I have to put up with a 65 decibel rooster crowing at me. And to make things simple, I changed it to restrict roosters from high density residential areas, as noted on a town zoning map. There are two of those areas. One is a trailer park. I assume you all know where that is. And the other is my neighborhood, Lincoln Street, and it crosses over Heartland Hill a little bit. And those are the two areas that have very tight housing resembling a village situation. In the village, roosters are controlled. You can't have them due to the current regulations. And we just happen to live across a town line, which was just put there, but the village does continue across that line because you all live within 50 to 100 feet of one another. And it's a very tight, compact neighborhood, very tighter than a lot of most of the villages, actually. So we do need some kind of control there, and I do need it immediately, and I don't want to take forever to get this accomplished. These things can drag out, and if we add on additional noises, we're gonna have to review each individual noise. I think we take another meeting. We're gonna be into December before we get to anything. So I don't know what this board has done with this issue, or are they waiting for me to respond and propose something? So I did write something up. I sent it in today. I don't know if you received copies of that or not. I sent it to Stephanie.
Okay. I did not receive.
I have one copy here.
Is the rooster in the village or the town?
Rooster is in town.
Okay.
If the
Check.
rooster's in the village, it wouldn't be an issue because the village ordinances would control it.
If it was in the village, you couldn't have a rooster.
I live 10 feet across the town line. Just 10 feet separate.
Yep.
And Kathy Avellino, who lives down the hill from me just a bit, about 200 feet probably or more, she hears the same rooster constantly as well throughout the day. It's not as loud because she's over a hill and there's a lot of forest between us and that, but it's still, she can hear it. So it is a very loud individual there.
And you've talked to the neighbors.
I talked to the neighbors and they refused, as I assumed would happen. Her daughter said, don't go talk to her and she'll be fine about taking the rooster away. And they don't really need a rooster because they don't need it for, they're not creating more chickens. So they just have the rooster as a pet. And it's a very annoying pet, as one can imagine. And there's just no need for that to happen. And in the past, they've never had roosters, but apparently they got a new group of chickens. And within that group of chickens, there was 4 or 5 roosters. They put an email out last September to get rid of them. All but one left the premises. So, and they kept one there and they consider it a pet at the moment.
I ask that you read your proposal so we have a
Yes,
chance to think
yes.
about it. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, it's the same as the last one. I have rooster prohibition listed. Section 1 be the same as the dog control ordinance, just copy the exact same language from the town. Then number 2, purpose. It is the purpose of this ordinance to regulate the keeping of roosters so as to protect the public health, safety of the town and the quiet enjoyment of its residents, homes, and properties. And that's the same that is in the one I gave you last time we met, which 2 weeks ago, I guess, I don't know. And then definition is the same. Rooster is an adult male chicken. Then it goes into section 4, nuisances, and it goes A, prohibitions. Roosters shall not be kept in residential high density zoning districts per town zoning map. And additionally, I added B, any rooster on site shall be removed within 30 days of the adoption of this ordinance.
That gets rid of the grandfather situation where one thinks that because they have the roosters can live up to 5 to 15 years. So I don't want to have to, I'll be dead before that rooster is dealt with. So, and that's what I have here. And then when you get into the enforcement situation, you can copy some of the same language that's in the dog ordinance. Well, I would change that around a bit, but I don't think it needs to be as severe as it is in the dog ordinance there. So,
Okay.
but so we're just kicking this can down the road, or what's going on here?
That seems reasonable, and I think it needs to be
I
reviewed.
think it needs to
Susan?
be addressed. Susan,
Oh,
She's on mute.
Sorry. I think that this was warned for discussion. We can't vote because it's not warned for vote. So that's just, I'm the resident rule follower there, so. But if everybody wants to go forward, I've not seen what Michael submitted. But,
no, none of us have, but he just read
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
And if I understood it, it's adding roosters to what we have on the books for control of dogs.
Yes.
Is that-
right,
So there's a few things. One is this would be, are you talking about updating the dog ordinance or a new ordinance based off the dog ordinance?
I would have a separate ordinance because the dog ordinance is a little fuzzy. It is under animals per se and not a noise.
So I think this one is, it'll be a new ordinance, so the ordinance will have to be written up. The board will vote on it. It'll take 30 days to go into effect. There's 45 days to go into effect and then 30 days for someone to sign a petition to go against the ordinance. So there would be that time up looking at. Additionally, I would like to get legal advice before we do anything. Michael has talked about the reason why this ordinance is going into effect. It's about, I believe, one family lives next to him. I want to make sure that creating an ordinance would not open up the town to any liabilities. I also want to do that as well before we go any further, which I can do that with the direction of the board.
yeah,
I just want this process to continue and to move along and not get weighed down. And I know they take a long time. I've done this for many, many years. And I just want us to move along and not get hung up on various issues here. So I appreciate whatever you can do to get some legal opinions on this, get something written up. I don't know if you want me to write something more up or if you're gonna.
So do we make a
Have your
motion for
attorneys-
ordinance feasibility?
No, I have my walking order, so I'll work on that.
Okay.
Once I get legal advice, let the board know if we want to pursue, put something together as soon as possible.
and we'll have Michael's suggestions.
Yes,
Because
can you email this to
I
me
can
as well?
leave this with you. Yes, no problem.
Oh, can you email it? It'd be better
I
for hard
can
copy, yeah.
give it to you. I could email it, whatever.
Did you email it?
Okay.
Did
I
you-
did email it to Stephanie. So
Okay, yeah,
she has
I'll
it.
get it from her tomorrow morning.
I hope it went through.
All right.
Because one thing I tried to email to you individuals and for some reason that email situation does not work. When you go like S Ford at Town of Woodstock or
Should work.
Brady's.
We-
It
we're
did
getting
not work.
emails.
It kept kicking back every time I tried that, so.
We'll look into that as well.
I don't know. And I talked to Stephanie, that's why I asked Stephanie to pass it around versus, doing it directly to the select board members, so.
Okay.
But I did send it out to the 3 of the select board members.
Okay.
Okay. It's now in Eric's capable
Okay,
hands.
so this board is going to more or less approve what I'm doing for further review.
we're gonna wait to hear from Eric on,
Not saying,
How to-
no, stop, get out of here, stop wasting our time.
No,
No.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I think we're gonna wait to hear from Eric as to if there's any legal issues that we need to be concerned
Mhm.
with, and also what we need to adopt as the language, and then we'll bring it up to a vote.
I urge you to keep it as simple as possible because once you start getting it more complicated, you're gonna find more crowbars you can sink into it and pry it open and rip it apart. So just keep things simple. KISS principle is the best there is.
Susan has a hand up for a
Oh.
comment.
yeah, I just want to note when we discuss it the next time too, we might want to state that it's specifically about roosters, just so the public is aware what we're talking about, rather than a blanket noise ordinance.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but that's what it is about.
Okay,
Thank you, Michael.
Thank
We
you,
got,
Mike.
Peter's got a hand up.
Peter Shoemaker again, I'll sit here.
oh, I'm sorry.
Look,
No, stay right there. You don't have to get up.
I feel for your pain. I feel everything, and we had discussions tonight about how we're gonna get back to a small town feel and everything like that, and this is, in a sense, to me, I'd like to think that this is almost like spot zoning. Someone come forward and they have a problem with their neighbor, and they can't solve it with their neighbor, and now the town has to solve it. And it may be, I'm not there. This could be a very horrible situation, and I understand that. I think this just kind of goes to the fact that when someone doesn't like their neighbor or doesn't get along with their neighbor, then it's up to you to solve the problem. And I, just like I said, you know, whether it's the leaf blowers on my weekend or the neighbor has his generator run on their dog barks. I mean, there's just so many little things like that I hate to say it, it's such a foolish phrase, you know, just everyone get along, right? You know, that's just a thing, but it's just, I think Susan almost was alluding to this when she's with her opening statement about this, is like, this is opening up a can of worms here that, and I understand, this is something terrible for him. But I just think that it's something, I don't know if the town should be stepping in to take care of this. And I understand the high zoning, that kind of limits where it can happen in town, but I just think that it's kind of like a spot thing, and we're starting to open up where neighbors can bring their disputes to the town to settle them. And I just don't know if that's a really progressive way for us to create ordinances in town. But thank you and good luck.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to respond. If we could trust all our neighbors to do the right thing, we would have no rules or regulations, period. Because everybody's going to do the right thing. This is why we have zoning ordinances. This is why we have ordinances, to cover issues that can't be resolved between neighbors. Otherwise, this would be a wonderful world, and it's not. So I urge you to move on this and keep it simple. Okay?
Thank you, Mike.
Roger?
Yeah, this is to some extent a reaction to having the whole noise ordinance posted as part of this discussion. And I realize that's the village noise ordinance. As a general rule, I'd say don't make regulations that you cannot or are not willing to enforce, or you don't have the resources to enforce. That noise ordinance for the village, for example, has a whole section on mufflers. When we first got here, we read that and we went to the village board and asked them to start enforcing the rules. Now, clearly, all you have to do is stand out on the street for 5 minutes and you're going to see some guy playing dress up clothes with his illegal muffler and his Leonard Skinner at full volume. Don't have regulations that you're not going to enforce. So or that you don't have the means to enforce even more. So I have no opinion about whether you should have a rooster ordinance or not, but if you do have a rooster ordinance, you have to enforce it. And you have to have the means to enforce it. And I know there are people in the village with roosters. So, it's just one of those things where if you can't really fix the problem, making a regulation or an ordinance doesn't fix the problem. Thanks.
Thank you, Roger.
If I may again, the enforceability of this, reduced significantly to 2 very small areas of the town. So it should be very simple to control those 2 areas. And you put in a $50 per day violation for keeping that rooster, and that person will eventually remove that rooster. It's not worth $50 a day. So I don't see the enforceability of this being an issue. So again, keeping it simple, make it easy to enforce. Enforced things for many, many years here. So, okay. Thank you.
No, there's one more.
Uh-oh.
We have chickens and we don't have a rooster.
You see your name for the record,
Oh,
please.
Gail Freitas. We have chickens and we don't have a rooster for the reasons that Michael was stating. So I just would like to support Michael because they do make a lot of noise. And I can't imagine having that in such a small neighborhood, but the house is so close all day long. It must be awful for him. So I just want to support him.
No, no. They don't last long. They last one day at my house.
It's in the backseat.
They're next door to us, so.
Okay, we good on noise? All right. Now we're going to votes. And we've got some abatement requests. And number one is Clay Reed on his utility water.
Basically, we have one structure, 16 Prospect Street. In that one structure to one end is a short-term rental. We've owned the house for 11 years. The rental's been there about 10 years. And pretty much from the beginning, we got 2 water and sewer bills. So I did ask about that years ago, like, why is that? Because there's only one water line in and one sewer line out of the structure. And I was told years ago, well, that's just how it is. If you have a rental, there's a second bill. Okay, all right, whatever. Well, when the latest ones came out, just here in the last couple of months, I thought, time to revisit. So I came down here to the office, talked to your staff there. I forget who it was I talked to.
Ashley, Robert, Patricia, Kitty.
A little bit of all of us. And explaining it, and they said to me, so how many, there's one water line, there's one water line. In fact, if you look, I have 2 bills. I don't know if you have them, but you can look at it if you want. But one of them, the main house with the meter shows us going over the bottom threshold. Like there's a charge on top of the floor, let's say, which is covering for both. So that makes perfect sense. The other one seems to have, it says total consumption 0. I don't know how, I don't even know where the second meter is. I don't think there's a second meter because there's not a second line. But it says total consumption 0. So that one's been sort of sitting at the floor charge for a long time. So basically I'm just asking that one go away, keep the main one, which is going somewhat over the floor because it's water to the whole structure and sewer. So
are those water
that was a
or
good
sewer
idea in the
bills?
office. They said, just go to the select board and tell them that it's just one line in, one line out.
Are those water or sewer bills?
It's combined now. This is how the town's doing it, so.
Yeah, I don't know what the requirement is. I mean, what did Robert tell you as far as?
Yes, I think the issue is like, we're charging you for numerous connections when there's only one water connection, right? It's only one pipe going in.
One water in, one sewer out. I know for a fact because it backed up because the pipe collapsed from rock. So we had the whole front yard dug up a few years ago to put it all, and you could see it. The town was out there.
Yeah, and so we charge a connection fee for each.
Yeah,
Are there 2 unique addresses, I guess? No.
Well, but there's 2 units basically, because I know that a property that I owned in Tassville, I had 5 rental units and I had 5 units. So I had 5 separate bills for each one. That was just sewer though, not water. So you have 2.
I can't speak to how the town is drawing the lines right now.
I don't know what the
I
new
mean,
system
The
is.
latest bill is water and sewer
Yeah.
combined. So
Yeah, so I think historically, the water rates included a connection fee. So every connection you have in your house, we charge you a set fee for.
Right.
In this case, we assume there were numerous connections because of different apartments. Clay's saying there's only one pipe going in, one pipe going out. So even though there might be multiple units, he's saying there's one pipe. So there should be one connection fee. And then whatever the usage above that is what it's paid.
And it seems like the big one, the one is over.
it is going a little bit over. Yeah, it's like $114 of water charge on top of the floor. So yeah, something a little bit over. Yeah, correct.
I would
Is
like to
there-
know what sorry. I would like to know what we do with similar properties, because I think there's a lot of properties where it's a house and a ADU or a short-term rental. And I thought from our last meeting that we did treat them as 2 units. So I guess I'm asking for clarification on that, on what we do with other properties.
I think it's sewer, but not water.
But
we need
sewer
to
feeds
find
into
out.
water,
Town is now putting them together, so.
and we get the water from the sewer, or we get the sewer from the water readings, so
Right,
Correct.
they're
right.
dependent.
So Clay, did you already pay the bills?
Not this round, I'm slightly overdue right now.
Okay.
Yes, because they're each like $900, so. hoping one will go away. Let's see what happens.
So last year, what did it look like? What were your bills? What did your bills look like?
Well, all these years, there've been the 2 bills, and I did visit that a few years back and was just told, well, that's just how, if you have an apartment, that's a second charge. Even though there's a one,
For water too, water and sewer, or did you just get one water bill?
would have to look into that, I don't know.
I have a feeling you got 2 sewer bills and 1 water bill. But what do I know?
Well, the entities were separate at that time anyway, because of Aqueduct, right? So,
Right.
Sure.
yeah, but now there's, so it's up to you guys,
Yeah.
I
Look into this more.
I think we need to look into it just a little bit more to find out that.
And I think, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
To Susan's point, do we have a number of other properties with a similar argument? So,
My guess would be yes, just based on the way the water company operated in the past.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we're consistent across the board. Is it by meter? Is it by unit? And like it's the last one we looked at, there were 5 units being consolidated down to 2. But I think that was 1 water line in and 1 sewer line out as well. You know, so like my recommendation is like, let's work with Robert, get consistency across the board. How should we treat everything across the board? And then just make sure we apply that equally.
And we have your 2 bills in our packet.
Oh, you do, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I believe
I
you.
thought I had.
I mean, I don't
I saw
understand,
your.
I honestly don't understand the second one, because like I say, it's been sitting at flat line, low level for years and not even, serving a purpose. If you will. So, I don't know.
I agree. We should give you clarity and everybody clarity. I think it's like what's coming up because some of these are strange, but last thing I want to do is start like giving one person one thing and another thing, so.
I think we need it. Peter.
Sorry, it's the water, so I'd like to get involved and nothing to do with you, sorry.
So this comes down to, you're getting ready to send July bills out. And that'll be the last one that you're gonna send out for this fiscal year. And we're gonna start on a new year. So you got 3 months to get a water policy together, a water rate schedule together. And that's when you can start addressing all this. Right now, you're kind of hodgepodging and trying to catch up with the aqueduct. And the sewer's been there for the whole time anyway. So that's been town run. But this is where getting ahead of the game here and starting to create your new water rate system. Maybe we're gonna say that if you have a rental unit, you are gonna pay a minimum for that rental unit. Even though it doesn't get used that much, you're making money off of it. If you have a sprinkler system, that helps your insurance. So maybe you're gonna pay a little extra so that we can provide a sprinkler system to you. This is where the rubber meets the road now, right? You guys we purchased the water aqueduct. That was a simple purchase. I was for that. I was totally for it. The only thing I was against is that people that didn't use it had to pay for it. But that ship has sailed. So I'm just saying, I feel for you. There's gonna be other people. We joked about this last time. You've had more abatements in these first 3 months than you had in 3 years, maybe even 5 years. So that's people are starting to say like, oh, geez, this costs some money to actually have to pay a real rate for water. For 30 years, I haven't really had to pay much for water. And the sewer is going to come to head. And we're going to visit in a little bit. Hopefully I'll talk. It's another philosophy that I have. But my philosophy is that this is the time for you guys to water. Town managers, got to come up and say, this is how we're going to run our water department. And this is how we're going to charge everyone. So we make it clear and transparent. So we're not doing one by one and doing this time. So let's get that water rate going.
Thanks, Peter.
Appreciate it.
Yes, just looking at Clay's bill, one of them, there is no usage whatsoever. The
Water?
usage has not changed at all. And so he's just being charged for the connection fee and that's it. So that's where the issue is. The other bill has the connection fee and then also the usage on top of it. Yeah, that makes sense. So I'll talk to Robert and get back
Okay,
to you.
so we'll get back to you.
That's fine.
Okay, thanks, Clay.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, number 2, sewer abatement for Billings Farm. And
Yep.
You've been patiently waiting.
Yes.
So they came last month. You asked us to do some more research. You should have an email in front of you from a
Yep.
wastewater group who went and visited the site and has a recommendation for you.
Yep.
I believe they're estimating usage of
200 gallons.
up to
I
200
might
gallons a
remember,
day.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Is it? Where is it?
That's right. It's over here. I got it. It's the loose sleep. All right.
You wanna? That's that's.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
I had it. There you go.
There were copies on the table. Yes, sure. I'm not sure.
Oh, is that?
And I think this is in a public packet as well.
It's
Right.
not how bad. We got that, I think this
Oh,
morning.
yes, sure it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
You wanna read it?
yep, bear with me. The wastewater department has 2 separate operators to the Billings Dairy. We sent 2 operators, I got it, down to the Billings Dairy on June 6th to observe the daily routine of cleaning milk lines. This happens twice a day with cleaning of the storage tank once a week. The findings were that each cleaning uses between 50 and 100 gallons, so about 100 to 200 gallons per day, plus an employee's restroom. All other water usage goes into the water troughs for consumption by the cattle. That byproduct then goes into compost and is not the sewer. Use this information however you see fit, and if you have any further questions regarding this, feel free to reach out. This is from the Woodstock Water team. So as I recall, the delta was the bill you were getting was for $18,000, and what we were looking for, or what you were looking for, was to pay $900 order of magnitude. Yeah. But I don't know from those bills what the consumption rates were. You know, what was the consumption rate that we were billing you $18,000, and how does that?
It was over 111,000 cubic
Yeah.
feet of water, which
Okay.
then equates to $111,000 worth of, $111,000 rather. Even dollars in this, 111,000 cubic feet going back to the sewer. And I went through an estimation process, it came up around
Right.
4,000 cubic feet
Okay.
Yeah.
for that time period.
Okay. So,
This is what we were looking for
So
to confirm that.
4,000 cubic feet, is that what translates into a gap of about 200 gallons per day?
Yeah, it's around that.
Okay.
'Cause
I don't know the
It
cubic
was like
foot to
150
gallon.
gallons.
conversion.
Things that I come up with, and we have the toilet, the bathroom in there too, which is.
The motion could be that the abatement could be, down to 200 gallons a day if you want. That's all you feel is appropriate.
I think that's
And
That's
Robert-
appropriate. I appreciate the work.
Then
they-
Robert can figure it out.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So who wants to make the motion?
Yeah.
I just missed what was just said. I mean, what
Oh,
was
we're
just decided?
well, the recommendation anyway would be to reduce it to the 200
Okay.
gallons per day. That's actually being
And will
used.
that translate to the $900?
Well, it might be more.
Because I just feel, I mean, that's the rate for a 2-person household, and I don't know. There's just such a differential there. That's what I was just wondering. What will this translate to? Do we know? What dollar wise is this going to translate to?
I don't know.
I mean, we said around $900, right?
Yeah, between 900 and 1,000 bucks was what we talked about.
I just think, it's just such a difference. And I mean, it's a commercial operation. I mean, I don't know. The differential is huge.
Sure, and I guess just to clarify on sewage, historically, we're calculating based on actual usage though.
Well, so historically,
So it's based on water
we
usage.
take the water usage and use it for sewer, yes.
So that actually equals 6,000 gallons a month.
The conversion to cubic feet.
Oh,
They do it based on cubic feet.
Yeah.
Which I don't remember what I don't remember cubic conversions.
So I guess the proxy I would make is like if someone has a septic, for example, and well water they're not paying sewer in those cases.
Correct.
just water.
Yeah, right. That's kind of the way that I'm looking at it. Is
And
that
you,
okay?
you don't get a sewer bill. You just get
We have a water and a sewer.
oh, you have both.
Yeah, he's getting charged
You
for
get
the full amount
both.
of water usage right now.
Got it. That's where the problem came in.
Okay, since we have the gallons of cubic feet, I'd recommend that we take the findings from the water department and hand it over to Robert. And we accept the findings of the water department. That would be mine.
I'd say it's the wastewater department. just-
Wastewater department, okay, sorry.
She made the motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Complicated one. I try to stay consistent. It's tough.
Okay, next is For the Green. Tom, you've been very patient.
Yeah.
Thank you. Tom List, I'm here for the Green, owned by Ava Duzinas. And I assist her with the management and operation of some of her interests in Woodstock. I spoke to Rob about her recent water bill. And here's what, here, if I can explain this correctly, and I think I've got it. So she receives one bill for the Green. And inside of that bill, there is, she gets charged for 5 hookups. Okay, so what we think is that historically that building has had tenants. So at some point in time, tenants were paying for their water separately. Ava's had the building since 2019, and she has always paid for the water and the sewer for the tenants. So there's never been any individual metering for the tenants. We're remodeling the building. We're continuing with the office concept there, and she'll continue to have the responsibility for paying all of the water and the sewer. So what we're requesting, what I spoke to Rob about, was to reflect that on the water bill so that she's charged for 1 hookup versus 5. Because right now, those 5 hookups, she gets clipped for 5 minimum usages, but then there's no further usage after that because the meter only reflects, the usage for the entire building. So it's kind of a building structure request that we're making.
And to be clear, you're not asking for abatement for this current bill, you're asking for it going forward, right?
She paid her bill on time, and I would say that if we could make it retroactive, reflected on the next invoice, that would be the second half of the request.
So right now, how many rental units are in the building?
Right now, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4.
And you're getting charged for 5?
5 hookups, yeah. There were 5. Splendid Bakes was there. There were 6 before Oriama left. So Oriama left, Splendid Bakes left. So the number was not really reflective of, the reality of the tenants. Because it didn't have to be, because they weren't being charged for their water and sewer.
Well, I think on the record, though, they had probably the correct number of units originally, because they had a lot of rentals in there. So that's probably where that original 5 units came from.
I agree. I think it's a carryover from, it reflected reality at some point in time. And at the same time, those tenants were probably paying for their water, would be my guess. That would be the logic of why those hookups are separated out.
We believe there's only one pipe going in, because that's the only usage, meter, right?
Right, she gets one bill, so she doesn't have 5 invoices. It's just one invoice and it just oddly shows 5 hookups.
But
So
I've got to go back to my
Yeah.
my rental building.
Yeah.
I had 4 bills. I had 4 units. I had 4 bills.
Yeah.
Sewer.
Right.
I didn't have water. So, and the water is metered, right? So the water you only get charged to what you,
You get charged a connection fee and then usage
connection
above,
for the
above
sewers.
that, yeah.
and the usage.
Well, in a way, it's the same as mine, is that the water is metered, but there's these thresholds. So if you.
Yeah.
1 meter.
Right.
Thresholds, so like, it's a little nonsensical in there, how that works, because I think we have to defer to the water department. I don't know, in the sewer department.
Well, we've got to be consistent again, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, this goes back to what I think Peter was referencing too, is we need to sit down and say, okay, when you have one building owner that has 3 people using separate office buildings or apartments or whatever, what's the correct policy? And I'm also loath to be doing this case by case at this time, but feel that we do need to. The finance committee reported to us and we have some data of what to do. It's curious to me, I will say I had an office in that building a very long time ago, and the restroom was in the hall. We didn't have any water or sewer in our own little space, but it's been, that was before Peter Novella bought it, so it's been totally redone since then.
Well, I just think that, I guess our approach is we received one invoice. She's received 1 invoice for water for 6 years. And there's 5 hookup fees. It just seems that logically there should be 1 hookup fee. She pays for all the water, she pays for all the sewer. We've just got these lagging minimums from the past. So I guess we're requesting that it's more of a clerical.
But how many separate tenants are there?
Well,
She's
right
not
now we
the-
have 4 in the building.
Okay,
But they don't pay water or sewer. They never have.
right, but that's kind of her choice as the landlord.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like we'd have the same thing with several rental units across the town that might have multiple units. Some pay the water on behalf, some don't. And so we don't always have a record of that. I mean, I feel your frustration. I feel like we definitely just need to clarify the policy and just treat everybody consistently. I guess my concern is just like, I don't want to abate it and then come back to you later and say, oh, hey, actually, that was inconsistent with how we treated everyone else, you know?
Can I ask, with the new water company, what is the schedule for having, water bills, a water billing policy, I guess?
So there is an ordinance in effect that the select board approved before the purchase of the water company that kind of dictates how it's run. When it comes to billing, we've been following past practices of how the aqueduct billed because the select board hasn't taken up new rate yet. As the water commissioners, the select board's authority to kind of set the water rate and to set the policy around what the rates will be. I think to Tom points and Clay point, the connection fee, you're given 300 cubic feet of water a quarter or whatever to use. And so, and in their cases, they're not using that 300 cubic feet because they're paying it on the meter side of it. So I think that's where the confusion comes in, where that's where we probably have to clarify what that means, because if you own a house and you only use 250 gallons, whatever it is, you're only paying that connection fee, nothing more. So that's your water bill per se. So in this case, we're charging, in this scenario, 4 connection fees, but they're not getting that extra water with it because they're paying the water meter on that 1 connection fee.
I think that, and, you know, I have a well and a septic system, so I think the issue is the difference between a residential property and a commercial property. And as I understand this is a commercial property.
Yes.
So if it has 5 hookups and whether or not you have 3 rentals, 2 rentals, or 5 rentals totally rented, and it's your decision as to whether or not you charge the tenants for the water, or you just include it in the rent, that's at your discretion. But I think the issues with a residential property are a little different than a commercial property. And that's about where I'm going with it. And I think we're married to what we currently have until such time as we have the new water rates approved, as painful as that may be.
But I don't think the water rates are gonna matter. We just gotta figure out the hookup.
Yeah, it's
The water rates are the water rates.
It's doing the same thing with the sewer issue where we don't know if someone's a single, double family. They're gonna say
Right.
the single once we check on them. If you're gonna charge a connection fee for people in apartments, they're gonna say no one's in the apartment because they don't want you, they don't wanna pay the connection fee. So it's more of what the policy is gonna be in following it.
And when we
Sounds like-
say water rates, it meant kind of a broader policy. The finance committee presented ideas to us about, like the heavy users, should that be a different rate? And, a lot of policy questions we need to sit down and discuss.
Yeah, because they also, if you're talking about, you wanna encourage housing and affordable housing, you may wanna give someone who's offering lower rents for employees, lower water, so they can afford, so it's kind of what the goals of the select board will be reflected in policies with the water department.
My comments were in the absence of forethought, excuse me.
You're on the radar.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Work on it.
Big issues.
All right.
No, I appreciate it.
Just with this one issue quickly, sorry, Peter Shoemaker. When you have a commercial building and you have 4 units and you're zoned for that, that makes your property more valuable. So that has to be taken into consideration too, when you have these water rates. It's just to say, oh, we don't want to have to pay for it right now because we're not using it. But when you go to sell that building, you could say, I have 4 apartments, I have 5 apartments. I haven't been using that, and so we don't want to pay water on it. But that does make that property more valuable as a commercial entity to go sell it on the market. So when you develop the water rate card, please keep that in mind. Thank you.
All right. Blake Hill, Judith Roberts.
Yeah,
It's an easy one.
It is an easy one. She bought the property last year, or maybe within the last 2 years, bought it from obviously somebody who was a double and she's a single. And she did pay her bill, but has requested, this email came to me, so that's why I'm reporting on it, is requesting an abatement to go from the double to single on the bill she just paid and in the future.
Okay.
I move we change the Roberts request from a double to a single residency.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Okay. Done. Okay, town hall camera system.
Yeah, so
Eric.
that's something I'm working on probably since around when I first started 3.5 years ago. What I noticed was it's a key system for every single key. People just got keys when they started. Sometimes they didn't return them when they left. Pentangle was given numerous keys to get in and out, off hours, at night. If we had an event going on, we had to find a way to get them the key, get a key back, or have the police come and lock the door afterwards. So I've been looking at a key system for 3.5 years now. It's going on and off the radar depending on how busy we were. The first year we couldn't get any vendors to come in and give us any quotes. Stephanie has taken this over the last, I'd say, year, has really worked on this due diligently. We have gotten numerous quotes. This is by far the best quote that's in front of the board. Stephanie called 5 different other communities that use them. The Mountain View School uses the same camera company. It's a 10-year warranty. They have 24-hour, 7 days a week service. The major thing is it will be a keypad that we can keypad in a card, so anyone can just swipe the card, get in. You can turn anyone off at any point. So if someone leaves, you can just turn it off. If we need to have someone come in for an event over the weekend, like Woodstock or Pentangle and Wassel, we can give them a unique code. They can get in, change the code afterwards. So it's just a much more safer way to protect the town hall as a whole. The goal would be to have two systems out front, one by the front door, one by the elevator door, which would be a camera, intercom, and the key lock. It would be on the side of the front door, so you wouldn't see it staring at the door. It'd only be if you need to use it at a time when the door is locked. And at a time when, think about COVID or some other disaster where people couldn't come in, you have the intercom system used to let people come in and out if need be. And then up top, at the top of the stairs and by the door or by the elevator, there would be an automatic lock. So in case of worst case scenario, we could lock the door immediately from our phones. But in this sense, I could be at my house, 9 p.m. at night, Pentangle would have an event. They text me, say the event's over. I can go on my phone, lock the doors. So it's more of a security, in that sense. The overall cost is $27,406.99. That covers 3 year contract. After the 3 year contract, it's about $2,500 to $3,000 to go forward, kind of another 2 or 3 years. Like I said, we spent about a year on this. References from 5 different municipalities in Vermont have all been very positive. Again, school system on the street use it, and we recommend the money coming out of private capital reserve account, so not be the general fund, where we have over $2,000 allocated for town hall improvements.
So I think you answered the questions I had, that we do have references. There have been multiple quotes. There's a 10-year warranty. Is there a monthly charge or user fee for this?
No.
Or, okay.
So the only fee would be if we need more ID cards.
Okay.
They're giving us,
if we expand this.
I think they give like 250 cards, something, which will last us, hopefully a number of years.
Okay. And then I'm assuming we have backup generators here. So if power goes out, then we can't get in the building or we're locked out. Or we can't get out of the building.
We don't have backup generators now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do the individual units have a battery backup or something?
So my understanding is that in a scenario like that, we can contact with the company and they'd be able to unlock the doors for us to get in and out if need be.
Even if we don't have power in the building?
That was my understanding, but I can get confirmation.
Yeah, I think that's the last point, but you covered the questions I had when I first reviewed this. Any others?
Yes. As you know, I felt that this should be a discussion item tonight rather than voting because when it was presented last time, there was no discussion, and I just felt that to just suddenly put it to a vote was sort of pushing it. Secondly, these new.
Sorry, we have talked about this. I know it's a new board, so I apologize. The other board has talked about this, at a few times about.
That has this.
This board has not been in front of this board. No one has.
Yeah. So, and then also the other bids. I mean, I just would be interested to know what the other bids were and why you picked this, and because in terms of the scope of the project, the timing of it, the cost. I mean, I'm just uncomfortable with just having one. Because $27,000 seems sort of excessive.
It was the cheapest bid that we got. And I'm happy to pull up the other ones if you want to know the prices.
I just think it's just sort of due diligence and, sort of following up on that. I have a question too, follows Dick's. What happens if the Wi-Fi goes down, which is part of the whole power thing. And I don't know, I felt, well, it was presented last time as sort of a danger thing and that, you could do lockdown, and those words really bothered me. I just still am into the fact that would this change the feeling of the town hall still being accessible? I mean, I don't know what these card keys are going to look like. You said the intercoms are going to be hidden. I just don't know if it's going to change the look and feel. That concerns me.
Yeah, so the size of it'll be about this tall and a little bit wider for the two systems that'll be downstairs. The camera is no bigger than the size of the top here. One will be on the door where the elevator lock is. The other will be, we're thinking, you stare at the front door on the brick wall on the side there. So that's gonna be the size of it. For 99% of people, there'll be no change of experience from the town hall. It's a
What will it
lockdown.
do to the front door and the
No,
lock? Nothing?
Nothing. It's from 8 in the morning to 4:30 at night. It's gonna be open as always is. Night meeting will be unlocked. It's off hours.
Will it look the same? I mean, with card things, don't you get some like machine, different,
Yeah, there'll be something like this side on the side of the brick wall, maybe 6 inches, 7, 8 inches thick. But again, it's gonna be on the side. So if you walk in, if you're staring at the doors, you're not even gonna see it on the side, or you'll see it quickly. We're not gonna lock down town hall unless it's emergency. And so for everyone, the experience coming to town hall Monday through Friday will be the same as they have right now. The security option of it is for the worst case scenario. If you look at this building, if someone came in here with a gun, we don't there's nowhere to go. Like there's exit here, there's an exit there. There's no safety precautions up here or down below. So the ability to lock down the building if need be, or if there's an active shooter in the community, to lock down the building to keep staff and residents safe, I think is also important. But again, that's worst case scenario, day to day, Monday through Friday, there'll be no change to any interaction with staff and the public.
You had mentioned getting 5 references from other municipalities. Do you know if there's like which communities they are? Just trying to give people like a sense for what other communities are doing this,
Stephanie did the references check. St. Johnsbury is one of them. I believe Bennington was another one. If you give me some time, I can pull.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm just trying to, because I think like from some of the feedback I've gotten is that, for Burlington, people get it. But there's still a small town feel here, so.
Yeah, but St. Johnsbury and Bennington are bigger than we are,
Yeah, I'll also just say, I said last time, Barnard had to close the town hall down and go to appointment only after the reappraisal, because of threats they had. Ideally, it doesn't happen in Woodstock, but Barnard's a small community that neighbors are one town away from Woodstock. Like this is not a Burlington issue at all. This is an issue we're all facing day to day.
I will just comment like on being a parent of young kids is like, that's something that, I wish the kids didn't have to deal with, but pretty much every school is.
Every
dealing
school
with
has the
some
same
type of
system.
surveillance at this point,
Yeah, and this system is what the school system down the street has.
Yeah. Well, I'm for it.
Yeah, my question's been answered.
Byron.
Byron Kelly, Woodstock. I sent you all an email. It's irrelevant for us to talk about on that. My biggest concern is, one is what Gay said. If we're gonna have bids, we have bids. The board should at least know what the other bids were. The second thing is as I've been coming to meetings, is why wasn't it put in last year's budget? We're doing all these things throughout the year and it's not voted on by the people in the budget. And it's not on this issue, it's just for future. I think it would be good. In our planning, we project what our budget should be for next year.
Point well taken. Thanks.
I had a question about that actually. With this, if it goes, where will it be in the next budget? Will this?
So this is a 3-year contract that gets paid up front. So the $27,000 would come out of capital reserve account. And so the next 3 years, the cost would be covered all 3 years. Year 4, if the town wants to renew the contract, they could then have it in their budget for 2029 or whatever it would be for $4,000 or $2,000 or $2,000 to $3,000 for the budget. I don't know.
And would it go into the buildings?
It would be at the select board discretion where they want to be, but probably in the building maintenance or some other select board line if they wanted to.
Okay, because that government building account has exceeded budget for the last 3 years.
Yep.
400% in
Mhm.
2020. So, I don't know, I just bring that up, like I thought, oh, it will be there, and then I looked and
Yeah.
you know, we need to cut that.
That's why we welcome the finance committee.
Finance committee.
Any more discussion? Should we make a motion?
I think I would make a motion that we accept the security system and go forward, but so I'll make the motion. It's up to the rest.
We have a second? We lost Susan. Is she there?
I'm not sure.
The other thing I might say while we're in suspense on Susan in the second is that the urgency behind now versus like if we get the bids.
Susan back.
So Gay could review them, for example, like and do it at the next meeting. We're not like losing, it's not an exploding offer. It doesn't appear to be, right?
It will go up 11%, if it's not approved.
Go up what percent?
11%.
11%.
Wow,
So
I thought it was 3.
This year, the balance closed until March 31st, so why suddenly is it gonna go up 11%?
I think it expired as I recall.
it expired at end of March and they've prolonged this quote for us. And this is the last extension they're giving us.
Okay, so why didn't we know this at the beginning? I mean, why wasn't that said a month ago when we were gonna talk, 2 weeks ago? Why is this suddenly, why we suddenly have to do it? I mean, I would have thought that would have been the first thing when we had this discussion, that would have been on, you know.
It's been on our internal plan to bring in front of the board. We've had a lot of turnover, a lot of things have happened. I prioritize different things that come in front of this board. We pushed them off repeatedly. They kept on giving us an extension. We met with them today because they were here for the school system. And they told us this is the last extension they're giving us. We push it off, but it's just going to be a higher cost going forward.
I don't know, it should have been the first thing you should have said. I mean, now, I don't know. That's something you would state, you know, by the way, if you don't vote it tonight, it's going to be 11% more. It's sort of a by the way now, as sort of a push to get the vote done. I mean, I don't know, talk about feeling pushed, you know, that's feeling pushed.
I apologize. I took the opposite approach. I thought if I said at the beginning, I'd be pushing that this had to get done. So that's why I didn't bring it up originally.
Which is why 2 weeks ago, when this came up, that should have been mentioned, and that would explain why you wanted to vote tonight. And none of that was explained, which is what my concern was. It just needs to be out in the open, you know, why?
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor.
Yes.
We don't have a second yet. Susan, did you have any comments or?
I'll second it to move the question forward.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Yeah, the nay on this.
3 to 2. Okay,
Did Susan vote?
I
Yeah.
vote A. Sorry. I do think we need, I will say that I agree with Gay, this should have come up earlier, and it would have been good 2 weeks ago to know about the penalty if we didn't move forward.
okay. Next. TRORC Energy Coordinator Annual Contract.
Yep, so this is a shared position with Two Rivers, with various communities around the area. Harry Falconer is currently the energy coordinator from Two Rivers that works with us. The allocation of the $45,000+ was in this past budget that got approved at town meeting. Harry was instrumental in the $1 million congressional appropriation we got for the wastewater plant. He was instrumental in the Northern Borders $900,000 grant we've got. He's worked with our planning commission on a bylaw updates. And he has also helped get grants for the electric charges for cars at the mill building and also at Eastern Park. In my opinion, Harry's been great to work for, and work with. He's been an asset to Woodstock. And I recommend that we go continue to move forward with the contract.
And the cost was, you said like 42,000, 40,000,
Yeah.
40,000.
It's just compared to what the other communities are paying. I'm wondering why we get to take the lead.
Population based.
Population,
Yeah.
okay,
Like at Norwich is closest to us.
yeah.
They're just a
But
little
there's,
small.
yeah, there's a huge difference between them.
Oh, with Norwich.
Yeah, first of all, how
See.
long has this position been? How long has Woodstock been involved in this partnership?
It predates me, so I think at least 4 to 5 years. I don't, Susan, do you remember, were you on the board when this first came in front of you?
I believe yes, I think this is I'm on my 5th year, so it doesn't predate you by much. I think, but
My next question is, the way that it used to work with the Two Rivers Ottaquechee, they would get a grant and have a project and come before boards and then ask for the board's blessing or not. And it would be, it would be a Two Rivers project with a yay or nay. And now I keep seeing sort of these partnerships. I'm using the word partnership, not quite sure if that's quite the right word, but maybe agreements with these organizations, like with the Village Conservancy thing, and now with this. And I don't know. I'm sort of uncomfortable with all these sort of agreements and partnerships when, before that's what this group did. They had the project, they came and they were funded and they were offered. So I don't know sort of why this would be ongoing. My next question is, what exactly does a shared energy coordinator do? I mean, I see that, they're sort of telling us what to do with, to save energy in municipal buildings. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, they've applied for grants with us for energy efficiency for town hall. We do not get those grants. Like I said, they applied for grants for electric vehicles that they have received. They worked with us on when EEI did the work here. They helped with that as well. So they do some of that work as well. What we've done with this contract is kind of expanded the scope of what it was. So he helped us with the water system grant, which is about $900,000, on the assumption that, having that system was more effective and therefore it fit under the energy timeline. Getting $1 million for the wastewater plants, new wastewater plants, similar to fits under energy because that is more efficient, more effective, helps the residents. So we've kind of shifted their perspective to kind of make it work the best way for Woodstock.
So sort of, it means the way you're speaking, sort of he's become another employee. I mean, it's sort of sounding that way
Well, I mean, yeah.
Well, he raised $1.9 million for us.
Yeah.
Which is pretty.
The intent is to replace like a full-time or part-time employee, like these shared services, like across communities.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the model
We're
is
not
like,
paying health
can you get more
insurance.
value out of someone that's better at what they do? You're only getting fractional.
Right.
And we do have, so they do put the approximate number of hours that correlates to the cost. Eric, I don't know, like what we get in terms of like reporting on that.
He sent out a quarterly report of what gets done, and I believe it gets sent to the chairs of the boards.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Susan.
oh, I was just going to say, I think Harry is the 3rd person we've had in this role, and he is by far the best. So I think the others kind of came and went pretty quickly, but he's been around. How long, Eric? You've been working with him for a few years?
Yeah, I mean, I think I told the story. It was my recommendation not to go forward with this contract, and then they got Harry, and Harry came in. I forget what the first project he did, but he was excellent, and we kept funding him. And again, to Norm's point, he's brought over nearly $2 million into the town in this role for $40,000 a year.
Yeah,
I think it's a very good return investment. They also work with Stanley Woodstock, so he helps there as well, and so he also plays a part there as well.
So I would just, I think we continue the contract, but give it serious review if the personnel changes again, because he's just been a lot better than the first 2 we had.
It appears as if we can get out of it with 30 days notice. So if they were to change personnel, we do have an exit. If I read that correctly, withdrawal and termination.
Byron?
Page 1.
Yeah, so page 2 there in the middle.
I really didn't want to talk about this. I think I heard Nick comment on the population, because when I looked at the contract, I thought the same thing. Why is Woodstock paying so much more? Just roughly, Woodstock's population is around 3,100. Norwich's population is 3,640. Thetford's population is 2,878. So I don't think it's based.
Yeah, and I think I got that wrong because it's like the services are actually allocated here.
By
on
number of hours, yeah, on page 1. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
thank you.
No, thanks for
I
clarifying.
also thought when I saw in the contract that you have to prepay and you don't get a refund if you get out, but I thought I saw that in the contract. For 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only if a new town, or party wants to fulfill the
Okay,
renter's salary.
got it.
Susan, do you want to make a motion?
I'll move that we renew the, sorry, I've lost my agenda on this table somewhere, but renew the energy coordinator contract.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Okay. All right. Next is receiving the donation of a parcel ID 302143, span number 786-250-11554. This is a property that's owned on 1054 West Woodstock Road.
Yeah, so about 3 months ago, the resident who owns this property reached out to me, said they were interested in donating it to the town. The select board at the time had us look into the legality of it. We've had a lawyer do some research. At this point, everything is ready to go forward. If the board wants to accept the parcel as a donation, you have the motion in front of you that you can use. We're excited about the possibilities. We're already talking internally what we could do with it. You know, as we've talked about in the past, land is at a premium here in Woodstock. Anytime if you can get land to own and potentially operate on is beneficial to everyone. To stem some tide, that parcel paid $457.05 in municipal tax this year. So we're not losing anything off the grand list. That would be substantial. So it's I think a good opportunity for the town.
Any questions?
This is the corner plot. We
Yep.
come down
Yep.
Prosper, yeah.
They tore it down.
We can make it a little easier. That is a great,
Come on up,
Come on.
Peter. You gotta say something.
So, if I remember right, I think, that needs to be a bed and breakfast right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what is that zone for?
I think it's,
Is it potential for affordable housing if we
Yeah.
take it on they donate it?
Yes,
For high
can-
density,
Can I enter for 1 second? Because that's what I mentioned. The current owner would prefer it be used for affordable housing. He understands that he can't make that a digit fee, but that would be his wish.
Yeah.
So thank you.
that's an old inn there, and Staglins used to have it.
we got sewer and water.
Yep, there you go.
Useful.
Anything else? Anybody comments, thoughts? All right, I'm gonna make a motion that the town accept the donation and approve the conveyance of the plus minus 0.43 acre parcel of land at 1054 West Woodstock Road from Richard Sherman, and to authorize the select board chair and town manager to execute a closing statement, tax forms related to the donation, and any documents necessary or advisable to close on the conveyance.
A second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay. That was easy. Receiving, transfer of funds. Back to you, Eric.
Yeah, so it's in the booklet. So when we were creating the budget for this year, the town had approved the bonds for the wastewater, for the water improvements, but we not actually received the bonds yet. So we were unsure what the payment would be for each year, though we tried our best to estimate in the process. So we budgeted conservatively, made sure we had enough money And so on the allocation that the select board created, which was 49.6% for water users, 23% for all municipality parcels, and then 27% out of the 2 local option taxes. We budgeted $493,976.17. The bond that came in for this year was $336,600, meaning we have a delta of $157,376.17 that the select board had kind of quasi allocated for water payments for this year. My ask of the board is to vote to transfer that money to a water capital reserve fund. So it'll sit there and be allocated just for water purposes, and then use that money over the next 2 years to help keep the bond payments lower for taxpayers.
Okay.
I had 2 questions. One, I was challenged in figuring out what I was reading, still may be. But we have a budget here of 493,000, but 494,000 to round up. And we show a revenue of 36.6. When I look at the page 1 of the general fund water, the only budget we have is the 336.6 thousand, not the 493.9. So
Yeah, so to answer that
so
question.
I'm not sure where the 157 popped up.
Under the water fund, and this will be in your packets, H 5021802 is a bond interest payment. Was budgeted for 238,976.17. And right now, the entire bond payment is in that account for $336,600 because we wanted to pay it, so we put it here to pay it, knowing we can move it around later if we had to. Then there's $120,000 under Fund 115011707, $120,000. No money taken out of that so far because the allocation has not happened. And then the local option tax, there's not really a budget for it yet. We're working on that internally. So there is no kind of straightforward budget besides what the select board wished they wanted to allocate when they made these decisions. So the 238.
I hear what you're saying, and I guess my challenge is if we haven't budgeted this and we're showing a surplus of 157.4, I'm not sure how we're connecting the dots.
Okay, so I think, let me back up. So we're gonna take the 336,600. Let me actually just share my screen. This will be a little bit easier, I think. Susan has her hand up. She wants to.
No, I'm totally confused, so I'm gonna wait till you share your screen and maybe I'll be less confused.
So the bill we have for this year is 336,600.
Right.
The way the select board voted to allocate the bond payments was 49.6 for water users, 23% of the bond for all municipal parcels, and then 20% of the bond out of local option tax. If you take the 336,600 and do that allocation, you have 166 coming from water users, 77,418 coming from all taxpayers, and then 92,228 coming from local option tax. That makes the bond payment that we have to pay for this year. If you take that from what was budgeted in the FY26 budgets, we budget 238,976 for water users. So the difference between that budget amount and the 166, which would be the allocation.
Right.
Then same thing, we budgeted 120 for all taxpayers. The 23% allocation would be 77,418. And then same thing, we budgeted 135 for local option tax.
Yep.
It'll be 92,228.40. That's how we allocated this year. So we did a 336 allocated this year across those 3 funds. And then the leftover budget would be $72,022.56 out of the users, $42,582 out of the all taxpayers, $42,771.60 out of the local option tax. That money will be transferred to its own separate accounts.
Right.
Reserved for water payments only, and then the select board over the next 2 budget cycles can allocate money appropriately to kind of keep some of the costs down over the next 2 budget cycles. And as we know, each year that goes down, the interest payments will go down as well. So hopefully we can kind of have a strategy to minimize the pain for everyone.
Okay, I get it. I follow the numbers now.
Okay.
Thank you. What a request I have is that when we put numbers in that reference the budgeted account, that we also add the account number.
Okay.
So I'm not going crazy.
Yeah. That's
or
good.
anyone else.
I'm going to do that now as we talk, so I have it in there.
Yeah.
And
I
that,
mean, oh, sorry, go ahead, Sue.
no, that was my concern too, is I want to make sure that while I understand the money's going into the water account, I want to make sure that the three separate entities that are paying into it are accounted for. So that it doesn't all get to the benefit of the local option tax, or it doesn't all get to the benefit of the users, that it gets benefited as it was paid.
Right.
Did that make sense?
Yes, I think, Susan, what will happen is if the board agrees to this transfer, there'll be 157,376.17 in accounts. And then the board will then have the ability to allocate how they want across the three funds over the next, I'm saying 2, but you can keep it for 3-4 years if you really want to, to pay it down. So it'll be up on the board to how you want to allocate that going forward.
Well, but given how the board changes, since you can see that evidence today, I just want to make sure it's really clear the source of the funds. So that 4 years from now, if we have 5 new board members,
Okay.
it's
So Susan, would you prefer to have 3 separate reserve accounts set up? One for the local option tax surplus, the user surplus, and the all taxpayer surplus, and that way the board can only use that money to move back and forth?
I personally would. I'm only one vote, so I'll leave it for discussion of the other 4.
Okay, I see you talking about.
I would be less in favor of that and have it go to one general fund just to begin to consolidate and simplify the budget. But I'll defer to my colleagues on that. And then I have another question regarding reserve funds.
I'm inclined to do that as well, also because this was budgeted for the water bond. Voters voted on that, and it's staying with the water bond. I think just to clarify, probably more for citizens as well, is that like allocating that this year, we've already got a budget set for this year that has its own, the budgets for each user's municipal local options tax going into the water bond. So are you saying like the earliest we could make decisions to start contributing towards that bond this year, or are you thinking fiscal year 28?
So my recommendation, so my recommendation for this year coming July 1 and June 30th, you could allocate some of this money in that payment to, if there's a difference that we need to make, or you keep it there for the following year.
Sure.
We make the FY28 budget, you could then allocate that money there as well.
So I guess from my perspective, then it's like we're keeping it in the water pool,
Yes.
as opposed to like redistributing and then pulling back up.
And so I think we'll talk about this in the next transfer I'm going to request. But in a world where now that we have the numbers here, for thanks to Susan and Dick, the all municipality money, that surplus, that $42,000 would sit in the budget, and then on June 30th falls undesignated fund balance. And then once it falls there, it gets commingled with all the other surplus numbers. And then we kind of lose track that $42,000 was allocated for, this one purpose. That's why I'm asking for the transfer, for it, so it stays with the water bonds.
I think as long as it's clear that it's for the water bond. What I don't want to see happen is that money go to a water project that the town taxpayers or the non-water users wouldn't necessarily have to pay for. That's my concern.
That was my question too, because you had said at one point a water capital fund. But it's a water bond reserve, right?
Yes, sorry.
Just
So
the
yeah, so
bond.
it would sit in the water capital reserve fund, but it would be its own account number that would say water bond payments. And the only way for that to be used other than water bond payments would be for the select board to vote in a public meeting to reallocate it to something else.
Okay. Is this a new reserve account?
Yes,
Are you creating it now?
we will if the board wants to go forward with this, yes.
All right, great, thanks. And, okay, so there are restrictions on its use.
Yeah, so it's yes, whenever.
Thank you.
Susan, would you like to make the motion?
Sure.
Oh, we had one more? Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry.
You should say.
That's okay. I gotta
both.
find my paper anyway.
He likes to walk.
Yeah,
Then I get in a screenshot, people can see me. So I just want to clarify, so this is one reserve fund. And as the water department has collected fees from water users for capital projects in the future, where's that money kept at now?
So
In the general fund?
So there's a capital reserve, a few budget lines, there's like 3 or 4. Those go in the capital reserve fund for the water. And similar to that, they can only be used for what they're labeled as. And again, if the board wanted to change what they could be used for, they have to vote to say. So let me just give you an example. There is.
I think I understand.
So I think just let me to kind of pull it up here. And that's sewer. Hold on. Water. So there is where is it? It's zeroed out, so it's not here. But I know there's a capital reserve for like water pipes. So that money gets allocated each year. That automatically leaves the general fund, goes to the capital reserve fund, and sits there until it's used.
So it goes in the general reserve fund,
Capital reserve fund.
capital reserves, but not specific to the water department.
No, it's a water capital reserve fund.
So the interest that's made on that goes to the water.
Yes,
It does.
to some degree. So the way,
It's either it does or it doesn't.
so the way all the money is in the same bank accounts.
Right.
So we get the interest and then we allocate it across the different funds.
So that happens, because I just want the people that are users on the system that are paying ahead, that they're making sure that that interest that they paid ahead goes towards lowering their water bill. I have no stake in that. That doesn't lower my water bill because, I mean, I gotta get ready to drill a new well because, we won't get going. I still bring that. So yeah, I just want to make sure because when I brought up the fact that when you didn't collect fees for basically 9 months for the water users, you said that the money was coming out of the general fund to fund the water department. So I just want to make sure as the water department collects extra money for future capital expenditures, that interest, because right now, I mean, a decent money market, it's 3.5%, should be able to go and help pay, lessen the effect on the water department, whether it's the 1% option tax, it's those taxpayers or the water users.
Yeah,
So we want to make sure that interest and maybe can be a little more transparent that way too.
Yeah, interest will be allocated to the water fund like it is the sewer, village and town fund, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Susan?
Oh, geez. I'll make a motion that we approve the transfer of the excess water bond payments to a reserve water bond account. Is that correct?
Yep.
I second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, next,
Okay, this is a little more in depth.
same page.
Yep. So I will. In the town meeting of the 2025, the voters agreed to establish a reserve fund to be called discretionary reserve fund to be used at the discretion of the select board. And then they also voted that after the yearly audit, if the undesignated fund balance exceeds 15% of the current fiscal year budget, the select board has authority to transfer those surplus funds over the 15% to the discretionary reserve fund. The 15% is there. That is kind of the standard accounting approval. You want 15% in some kind of
Rainy day fund.
rainy day fund. So if you have expenditures, then you have extra money. So what I'm suggesting to the board is the transfer of everything over 15%. That's my recommendation. The board doesn't have to follow that, obviously, but let me walk through what that would look like. So we have the FY 25 audit is complete. You've all received a copy of it via email or in person. It's also online. As of June 30th, 2025, the undesignated fund balance is $2.9 million. The FY 27 budget is $8.8 million. So 15% of that is $1.3 million. So that's what we want to keep at a minimum in the undesignated fund balance. We don't want to go below that worst case scenario. The difference between that and what is in the undesignated fund balance is $1.5 million. So that's where we're at right now. What gets a little bit tricky is the select board back in October voted to move $397,199.07 from the FY 24 audit into this reserve fund already. So you take that money out because that wasn't transferred before this number was finalized. You would have $1,178,665.87, which is above the 15% left in undesignated fund balance. So that money will be moved to this account. And the select board then has the discretion to spend that money as you see fit. You could do nothing with it. You could use it to purchase something large. You could use it to offset tax rates going forward. It'll be at the select board's discretion.
As I looked at, if I may, as I looked at this, it seems we have a rainy day fund of $1.3 million. And then we have the difference was another rainy day fund, if you will, of 1.5. So almost $2.9 million of a rainy day fund against the total budget of $8.8 million. I think that's an excessive amount to have on hand. And I think I would leave it to the board as to whether that goes back to the taxpayers, is used to reduce debt where we have, or not just, it seems like we have an excessive amount. The recommended amount is as you mentioned, the 15 to 17%, I think is.
Yeah, recommend that's what you want in the undesignated fund balance. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So this is the difference between that and that.
Right.
And that's what that equals.
Yeah.
Then they have that amount already in the fund.
Right.
Right. And that's why you're subtracting that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Right. But if I don't look at that, we're still looking at almost $3 million.
Yeah, so the undesignated fund balance as of June 30th of last year is 2.9.
Which is more than 30% of the total budget.
Yes.
Of
So-
the 8.8 million.
Yeah. Yes, he's 100% correct. So that is a large number. What our plan would internally do, if the board moves all this money over to that account, is we've talked to a bank of putting in a 30-day CD, I believe it is, and gain extra interest on that over the course of the year to kind of increase more revenue for the town if possible. So we're going to talk with a bank about how we would do that if we need to.
I think.
But to Dick's point, it's like it is a lot of money. So once if it stays in the undesignated fund balance account, or you move it over, you have options to use that money. It does not have to stay here. You have the discretion to spend it as you see fit.
Yeah.
And just so, cool. I think I said this earlier and I'll say it again. 2 years ago, the rules on what to do with undesignated fund balance is very vague. The legislature has now clarified it. So the select board does have the authority to spend undesignated fund balance if you want. So whether this money gets moved or not, you can still spend money. I want to move the money over here. So at the next audit, we have a very more clear defined number with undesignated fund balances. And if it jumps up again, we can say, okay, why are we getting all this extra revenue, or why are we not spending the money that we think we should? And so that's what I'm looking at.
Okay.
So if I can, sorry, are we still talking about the board? Is the board still talking, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't have the handout, but I agree with Dick that we probably have more money than we should be in responsibility to the taxpayers. We did buy down half a rate on the tax rate last year with these funds, and I would hope that we continue to do that. My concern is if we do more, then you're building that expectation, and if we have a bad year, taxes would skyrocket. But yeah, I mean, I think we need to move the funds, but then I also think in the upcoming budget, we need to think about how to offset some one-time expenses to lower the tax rate.
Okay. I guess my first question is, how did we get here? How did we get $3 million?
Yeah, so we thought the undesignated fund balance would be somewhere around 1.9 this past year, or this current year. We talked to the auditor briefly about a week ago on it, and it's revenue that we did not expect to come in, came in. So we have some agreements with the National Park Service where we're kind of passed through on grants. And so that revenue was not budgeted for, and it came in, that was a couple $100,000. So the money got expended out, that was recognized as expenses, but the revenue was not budgeted for, so that money sits there. There was, I think this past year, we found out that a few years ago, we did not request revenue from a grant. And so we had someone help us, and we received another $230,000 from a grant that we never received from a previous year. So it's mostly revenue that we did not expect to come in that year, and that was not budgeted for.
Okay.
But again, I think we're going to have the auditor this coming Monday present. So we will ask some more in-depth questions on that as well.
Okay. One other thing that I would ask is that we use the right or the consistent terminology. Okay, so what are we calling it here? Undesignated fund, and the auditor, GFOA, the LCT all call it unassigned fund.
Okay.
Okay, so because when I look for this and I'm searching documents, I'm not finding it. So,
okay.
What else did I want to ask about? Do we have, I guess the answer is no, but do we have a policy on unassigned fund expenditures?
No. So again, it was vague before the state had now given guidance, but the select board did vote to use undesignated fund balance to help purchase the water system back in October of 2024. And they had a public meeting on it and a public vote to get that approval because they were unsure of the legalities around it. But there is no internal policy right now on the select board using undesignated fund balance or unassigned fund balance.
Thank you. And also, I think there should be a policy. I think the board needs to come up with a policy on and even if it says, it's for emergencies, whatever, for the unassigned funds, there certainly needs to be a policy for expenditures on the reserve fund. And to Susan's point, you don't want to be so specific and say we're only going to use it for this, but there are other towns and cities that have policies on this that are kind of broad but limited. Okay, so it's not up to the discretion of the select board, that it actually has some constraints and that are
Guidelines.
Thank you. Okay. That's
Didn't imagine what our dinner conversation.
Thank you.
There's also one more, I think Allison Taylor.
Okay.
Allison?
Can you hear me?
Hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay. So my question is, what Vermont statute grants the town the authority to establish the discretionary reserve fund or the unassigned fund in the absence of a charter? Even if the voters approved it, as they did a couple of years ago at town meeting, what Vermont statute gives the town the authority to establish that kind of a fund?
So the undesignated fund is not a fund that is like established by the town. It's a municipal description for unassigned funds.
Okay, so what Vermont statute grants the town the authority to have this rainy day fund? As opposed to putting any surplus back into the operating budget for the following fiscal year?
Did you say you
I
want?
have the unassigned fund balance, Vermont statute, section 6.24 VSA, section 1585. You want me to read it?
I'm
Yeah, you're
sorry, I
not
couldn't hear that.
Okay. Do you want me to say it again? I didn't hear it. Okay, it says monies from a budget approved by the voters at an annual or special meeting that are not expended by the end of the municipality's fiscal year shall be under the control and direction of the legislative body of the municipality and may be carried forward from year to year as an unassigned fund balance. Unassigned fund balances may be invested and reinvested as are other monies received by the town, by a town treasurer, and may be expended for any public purpose as established by the legislative body of the municipality.
And where can I find that?
What's the VSA?
Vermont statute section, SEC, that section 6 here.
VSA, 24 VSA 1585.
Thank you.
Yeah, you read it backwards. Yeah, it's a weird way to do it.
Any more discussion? Would any of you like to make a motion?
To adjourn.
To adjourn.
Am I jumping the gun?
To transfer
Okay, make a motion to transfer.
As presented.
as
As
presented.
presented, sorry.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
Opposed, abstain, okay. All right. It's a long meeting.
It's not done.
It's not done. Okay. So we have a situation where we want to explore the fact that we have to go into executive session.
Yeah, so there's a conversation I want to have about a potential real estate purchase or lease. And the person we're dealing with would prefer this is confidential until a potential agreement is reached between both parties.
And based on our statutes for going into executive session, it comes under F2, the negotiating or securing of real estate purchase or lease option.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to go into.
Or you make a motion.
Oh, going to make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Second. So moved. So moved under section 1 VSA 313.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay. I can't remember whether it was, oh no, it was the 528.
Oh, but we need to move.
You have to make a motion, get out of executive session.
Oh,
And we're back on here, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Live talking. You should be good.
okay, so I'll make a motion that we adjourn the executive session.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Executive session. Now we've got to talk about approval of the minutes, and I think it was the 528
Right.
that we have to table until we make the correction.
Correct.
So we're going to approve the 526 and the 602.
Yeah, move to approve the minutes from 5/26/26 and 6/2/26.
Second.
I just have one thing, the burn was misspelled.
The burn.
Hold on, referring to
On which one?
What,
6-2,
6-2?
hold on. Hold on. Under the in the raising of the money for, Bondell Cobb
okay.
and the, notable gifts, I just thought that the name should be spelled correctly. Since they are giving $75,000.
Yep.
So.
Catch.
Oh, you mean,
The Burn Foundation.
Burn Foundation.
Foundation.
On the Vondel Cup.
yeah,
There's not a page number here.
I'm not seeing it,
I'd
but,
give it to you.
Yeah, it's under E, discussion Vondel Cobb update.
oh, so that was before.
Yeah, wish there was a page number I could give you.
Yeah, on the E. Yes, so.
So it's,
Yeah, so the board can approve the minute with that correction.
yep,
Okay, so
I just called it 75 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. we're gonna correct the burn on 6-2. Okay. So we approved it.
So that's the motion.
We haven't yet.
Oh,
Okay. Move to approve the minutes from May 26th and June 2nd with the correction for the spelling of the Burn Foundation.
Right.
Second.
second. All those in favor say aye.
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 What is the correct spelling?
BY.
BYRNE.
Okay.
All right.
And
I move to adjourn.
Second that.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
There you go. Good job, Norm. Your first